So just when we start with the formal welcome and the event flow, I'll just brief as in like what the should be the format of the event. So it's a roundtable discussion, whereas we have selected few eminent institutions based out in Odisha and largely are from Bhubaneswar, and we tried to keep this roundtable discussion to a limit of say 20 speakers and 20 institutions. But in the very last stage, when we were coming towards the execution of the program, we got many of the queries and the institutions and the designation. We could just not avoid them. We wanted and we made an inclusion to be a part of this forum. So instead of say 20 speakers of this event, we somehow managed to make this a little more, and we extended till 27 to 29 speakers. Hopefully, if all come over here, we can see that earlier last year we have done this event in the same premises. The hall was little small, but kind of response which we got from the state and the institutions, we thought to make it in a bigger way right now. So every time what we do, the intention is to bring a corporate or an edtech player who is very prominent and established in the industry, and how he is helping us, to enlighten us or to share some of his best practices, which is happening in the corporate to the edtech sector. Is it anything important for our institute? That is a kind of thought which is behind of executing this event. So last time we had that with LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is one of the very prominent established player in the social media domain. This time we had ACCA. ACCA are the pioneer body of accountants, the professional accountants globally, which they have. So they will be joining us shortly. So let us begin by the time the guest comes. So it will be a welcome remark for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and then we'll start with the formal say open session for the roundtable discussion, where we are keeping this roundtable session into maybe two parts. So one part will be quick introduction of all the speakers by giving them a self-introduction, and a short brief on the topic of the discussion which we have decided, which is the role of professional qualification in enhancing employability. A quick opening remarks for two minutes each speaker, and then we'll come to the second round of discussion based on the subtopics, which I guess Prabhanshu has already shared in the group. So you may choose any of the topic which you feel is suits you, or any best practices you have done in that particular theme. You can enlighten us on that, so that we can discuss on the best practices happening in the education, and everything we are focusing on making the education sustainable. And we are very much experienced now, and we have seen that how we are adopting to the changes of the environment which we have just focused. So I think the strength is 100%. Can we have a huge round of applause for ourselves for making this event so lively and with 100% attendance? Thank you so much. So we have not missed. I was just introducing a bit of the format of the event, and now I'll start with the formal opening of the session. So there is no doubt that the cost of education is on the rise. The financial concern of earning your education should never stop you from doing so, because as Benjamin Franklin once said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest over your entire lifetime. Namaskar Odisha and Jai Jagannath. Good evening one and all, and cheers to good health, happiness and prosperity. I am glad to see a lovely gathering today in the temple of city Bhubaneswar, Odisha. I, Kumar Chandan Anand, the founder, CEO and group editor of ArdorComm Media Group, on behalf of the organizing committee, welcome all our eminent speakers and invited guest delegates today. We welcome our partner ACCA, who is a global body of professional accountants, and who supported our mission of spreading the ideas of socio-digital transformation and innovation. Prabhanshu Mittal, the head of education partner relationship, which is heading the north, east and west of India, along with Rohan Raghuvanshi, they will be joining shortly. So we are coming here for the second time, and maybe for in a much better and a more organized way. We did this event couple of months back in Bhubaneswar, and I can very much recognize and see many of the old faces who have blessed us and who have supported us. Ki beta come again, we will be supporting your venture, and this is how we'll be delving into it. एक फोरम से तो कभी सॉल्यूशन एजुकेशन का सर निकलेगा भी नहीं. इस तरह के फोरम्स हमें रिपीटेडली करते रहने पड़ेंगे, सो दैट एक दिन वो चेंज जो हम बात कर रहे हैं अपने अपने प्रेमाइसिस में, वो चेंज जरूर आएगा. बट इस तरह के फोरम्स बार बार ऑर्गेनाइज होते रहें, हर जगह ऑर्गेनाइज होते रहें, छोटे सिटीज़ में भी ऑर्गेनाइज होते रहे, तब कहीं ना कहीं ये कम्युनिकेशन आगे तक जाएगा. और ये कम्युनिकेशन कैसे आगे तक जाएगा? हाउ वी आर कनेक्टेड. We are connected with the Ministry of Education, with AICT, UGC, CBSE, NCERT. So जो भी forums हम इस तरह के small ventures में करते हैं, we draft a white paper of it, और एक glimpse के format में we share that as a event outcome to all these bodies, no higher authorities, so that हमने भुवनेश्वर में बैठ के ओडिशा के एजुकेशन के बारे में, यहाँ के सस्टेनेबिलिटी के बारे में ये डिस्कस किया, and then as a paper we document it and we put it to their tables. उसका क्या होता है, आई एम नॉट इनटू इट मोर, बट एज ए मीडिया हाउस माय कंसर्न इज दैट कि हमने जो कुछ भी किया एज ए आई ओपनर मैं उनको वहां पर रिप्रेजेंट करूं. सो दिस इज हाउ द मैसेज विल गो टू द राइट टेबल्स इन द राइट पीपल. सो यू कैन एश्योर मी फॉर दैट. So before we start, let me just invite your kind attention towards a small introduction of ArdorComm Media Group. So ArdorComm Media Group is a growing media company enabling communities of education, human resource, healthcare, governance, and media, entertainment, and art. So 5 communities we are into, to effectively advance their businesses and strategic interest by becoming their collaboration and growth catalyst. Our passion is to co-create, co-learn, and collaborate for innovation and socio-digital transformation. And a short overview as in how ArdorComm Media, this venture started. So when the overall industry was actually sailing across the VUCA phase of existence. So VUCA, many of you can recall that word. So volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity. ये 4 वर्ड से हम लोग अभी भी घिरे हुए हैं. It was not only the COVID period, but still we never know कि every चीज is volatile. कल क्लिक ऑफ माउस से कौन सा सॉफ्टवेयर, कौन सा सिस्टम, कौन सा इनोवेशन चेंज हो रहा है. एवरीथिंग इज सो चेंजिंग. और सस्टेन कौन कर पाता है? जो उसको अडॉप्ट करता है. सो गॉन आर द डेज जहाँ पर ट्रेडिशनल मोड ऑफ एजुकेशन वाज द ओनली सोर्स. अभी आपको इनोवेशन के साथ में, ट्रेंड के साथ में अपने आप को चेंज करना ही पड़ेगा. और जो नहीं कर पाएंगे अपने आप को चेंज और अडॉप्ट, वो पेरिश हो जाएंगे. तो यही हमारा कंसर्न है कि आज की डेट में इंडस्ट्री में क्या चल रहा है. लेट अस, जो भी कैंपसेस है, अभी वो कैंपस को अब हम डिजिटल कैंपस बोलने लगे हैं, स्मार्ट कैंपस बोलने लगे. क्यों? तो जो डिजिटल कैंपस, स्मार्ट कैंपस की बात नहीं कर पा रहा है, फिर वो अपने अपने कुकून में जी रहा है. फिर वो स्ट्रगल करते रहता है कि मेरे बच्चे एडमिशन्स तो मिल गया, लेकिन उनका प्लेसमेंट तो क्या. तो पहले ईयर आपको एडमिशन मिल जाएगा, दूसरी ईयर एडमिशन मिल जाएगा, तीसरी ईयर के लिए स्ट्रगल करोगे, क्योंकि पहले ईयर के एडमिशन्स के बच्चों का प्लेसमेंट्स नहीं हो पा रहा है. ये सस्टेन नहीं कर पाए. क्यों? क्योंकि आपने करिकुलम के अलावा दूसरी चीज़ों को अडॉप्ट ही नहीं किया, आपने इंट्रैक्शंस ही नहीं किए, अपना नेटवर्क ही नहीं बढ़ाया. इंडिया के बाहर अब्रॉड में जाना नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, लेकिन बहुत सारे ऐसे प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं जहाँ पर आप एक्सचेंज कर सकते हैं, फैकल्टी एक्सचेंज, स्टूडेंट्स एक्सचेंज ना, बहुत सारे फोरम्स में. सो प्रभांशु, वेलकम. बिफोर दैट वी हैव नॉट मिस्ड, आई वाज जस्ट वेलकमिंग इट. सो वी हैव प्रभांशु, ही इज हेडिंग द एजुकेशन फ्रॉम ACCA over here. So this is how, so what we am saying, I'm just saying कि हमें अडॉप्ट करना चाहिए, तभी हम जाके सस्टेनेबिलिटी के ऊपर बात करें. ब्यूटीफुल डॉक्यूमेंट जो है वो NCF और NEP, मतलब कमाल का डॉक्यूमेंट है. गवर्नमेंट को टाइम लगा, लेकिन बहुत सही टाइम पे वो आया, और ग्लैड कि वो कोविड से पहले आया, ताकि उसकी अहमियत हमें अब पता चल रही है कि वाई. सब कुछ चल रहा था, डिजिटल एजुकेशन के ऊपर सब लोग बात कर रहे थे, स्मार्ट क्लासेस के ऊपर सब लोग बात कर रहे थे, लेकिन कोविड आने से एक चीज़ अच्छी हुई है कि उसको थोड़ा एक्सीलरेशन मिल गया. जो चीज़ हमारे 5 साल बाद हम जो करने वाले थे, हमने आज के दिन ही कर लिया. एंड देन इट कम्स टू अ इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑन टीचर ट्रेनिंग, क्योंकि खाली टेक्नोलॉजी अडॉप्ट करने से तो नहीं होगा. देयर शुड बी अ फंड विच शुड ऑल्सो गो टू द टीचर ट्रेनिंग, सो दैट वो ठीक से सीखें, तब जाके हम वो सिखा पाए. किसके पास बेहतर नॉलेज है वो डाउट है. टीचर के पास ज़्यादा है कि स्टूडेंट के पास ज़्यादा है आज के डेट में, हम उस पर डिबेट नहीं कर रहे हैं. आपका एक्सपीरियंस या आपकी पर्सनैलिटी, आपका एक्सपर्टाइज जो है वो पढ़ाना कैसे है, लाइक दैट, वो चीज़ बच्चे को नहीं मालूम है। हो सकता है कि जिसके बारे में वो आप बता रहे हो उससे ज़्यादा नॉलेज उसको होगा, वो रट चुका होगा, आपसे ज़्यादा नॉलेज भी होगा उसको। बात उसकी नहीं है, बात है कि जो स्किल आपके पास में है वो स्किल उसके पास में नहीं है। इस स्किल को थोड़ा सा और चेंज कर कैसे होगा, अपने आप में थोड़ा सा इन्वेस्ट करके, थोड़ी टेक्नोलॉजी का नॉलेज लेकर, थोड़ा सा और टीचर ट्रेनिंग कराकर, अपने ओनर्स को, अपने डिसीजन मेकर्स को हमें बताना है कि बच्चों पे तो जा रहा है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे भी जा रहा है, हमारे ऊपर भी थोड़ा जा रहा है, तो सम ऑफ बजट शुड ऑल्सो बी पार्ट फॉर द टीचर ट्रेनिंग पार्ट ऑफ इट, सो दैट कि जो भी चीज़ कैंपस हमारा इसमें इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है वो सही डायरेक्शन में तो जा रहा है। क्योंकि आउटकम मेजरमेंट हमें खाली बच्चों का एग्जामिनेशन ही नहीं एक्सेस करना है, हमें ये भी एक्सेस करना है कि जो इन्वेस्टमेंट हमारा टेक्नोलॉजी में हुआ वो सही मायने पे बच्चों के लिए फ्रूटफुल हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, सो दैट वी आर नॉट स्ट्रगलिंग फॉर देयर प्लेसमेंट्स टू गो। सो अभी प्लेसमेंट्स आर नॉट कॉन्फाइंड ओनली इन द मेडिकल इंजीनियरिंग और जो भी जो ट्रेडिशनल मोड ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट रहता था, इट इज डाइवर्सिफाइड और नॉट। और उस डाइवर्सिफिकेशन के लिए आज ACC हमारे साथ एसोसिएटेड है, बताने के लिए कि और भी स्कोप है एम्प्लॉयमेंट का। सो दिस इज हाउ वूका फेज ऑफ एग्जिस्ट, जो मैंने इसको और एलोबरेट किया कि व्हाट वूका इज इनटू। So during the second phase of wave of COVID-19, where the companies were in a cost-cutting situations, or a loss of jobs and uncertainty could be witnessed by many of us, a small foundation team dared to start its own media venture. We got incorporated 3 years back as a media startup, and we named this company as ArdorComm, where the dictionary meaning of Ardor is passion, zeal, and Com stands for community and communication. So, and when we again delve into more कि भाई Ardor खाली zeal तो नहीं हो सकता, let us expand Ardor more. तो 5 values, जो 5 core values में हम लोग काम करते हैं, वो हमने Ardor को define किया, which is aspiration, reimagination, digitalization, opportunity and readiness. तो हर एक वर्ड अपने आप में बहुत बात कहता है, मैं तो इसके ऊपर मतलब घंटों बोल जाऊं, लेकिन केवल मैं वर्ड से ही बोलना चाहूंगा कि एस्पिरेशन, वी आर ऑल अवेयर ऑफ इट, व्हाट इज एस्पिरेशन मीनिंग। देन डिजिटल रीइमेजिनेशन, सेकंड आर इज रीइमेजिनेशन, हर चीज को रीइमेजिन करना है, किसी न किसी तरह का इनोवेशन उस चीज में छुपा हुआ है। एवरी डिपार्टमेंट, एवरी वर्टिकल, एवरी सब्जेक्ट, एवरी इंस्टीट्यूट नीड्स टू बी रीडिफाइंड, क्योंकि हर आदमी, हर इंस्टीट्यूट अपने आप में डिफरेंट है। नहीं तो 100 इंस्टीट्यूट्स भी हैं, लेकिन सब 100 इंस्टीट्यूट सस्टेन तो कर रहे हैं ना, सबके पास एडमिशन्स तो है ना, सबके पास में प्लेसमेंट्स तो है ना। सो इसलिए एवरी पर्सन, एवरी इंस्टीट्यूट, एवरी डिपार्टमेंट इज हैविंग इट्स ओन उस, अब फिर वो हमें उसमें ये डेल्व करना है कि इसको एक नेक्स्ट लेवल पर कैसे लेकर जाए। सो दैट इज व्हाट वी कीप ऑन डूइंग। जैसे हमने भुवनेश्वर में किया था, मैं चाहे ये साल स्किप भी कर सकता था, नहीं, हमें और लोगों को और इंगेज करना था। मे भी हो सकता है कि नेक्स्ट ईयर व्हेन वी कम टू भुवनेश्वर विल कम विद अ फ्लैगशिप इवेंट, बड़ा इवेंट, जहाँ पर हम स्कूल एजुकेशन को भी लेकर आए, बिकॉज हाउ स्कूल एजुकेशन कैन बी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम हायर एजुकेशन, क्योंकि बच्चे आखिर वो आ कहाँ से रहा है, ब्रेन्स तो स्कूल से ही आ रहा है। तो वो गैप को कम करने के लिए वी शुड एक्चुअली अलाइन स्कूल एजुकेशन, हायर एजुकेशन, स्किल एजुकेशन, टेक्निकल एजुकेशन, कॉर्पोरेट, गवर्नमेंट, पॉलिसी मेकर्स, बिकॉज इट्स एंटायर नेटवर्क ऑफ इट, कोई एक इससे परा नहीं है। एंड देन द कॉर्पोरेट, एंड देन द एडटेक प्लेयर, कि भाई क्या चल रहा है, हम बच्चों को पढ़ा तो रहे हैं लेकिन प्लेसमेंट्स क्यों नहीं हो रहे हैं, तो आप बताइए, वेयर वी आर लैगिंग बैक। सो वो हमें भी इन्विटेशन उनको भी देना चाहिए, सो दैट हम एज ए पूरे एंटायर नेटवर्क को लेकर चलें और पूरा ब्लेम खाली गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर ना डालें, थोड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अपने शोल्डर्स को भी लेकर, क्योंकि इनकॉर्पोरेट करना NEP वो हमारा काम है, उनका काम था डॉक्यूमेंट फ्रेम करना, जो कर चुके हैं। So this is how we sailed across. और फिर then the journey started as a social entrepreneur. So it's not an entrepreneurship role which I'm doing. I'm doing a role of a social entrepreneur because I'm a responsible person, as I'm holding a small media house of it. So media house में I do not advocate for any company or any product. What I do is I create a networking opportunities. मैं ये बोलता हूँ कि आप भी आइए और अपने बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस से शेयर करिए, पता नहीं किसी को क्या पसंद में आ जाए. So that is how what we do. And then with that we started this venture, and in fact in our team also और हमें एम क्या, हमारा एम इज टू बिकम द इंडियाज लीडिंग एंड मोस्ट डिजायरेबल मीडिया वॉइस बाय इनरिचिंग द कम्युनिटीज विद द इकोसिस्टम ऑफ नॉलेज शेयरिंग प्लेटफॉर्म, इंफॉर्मेशन एंड न्यूज़. तो हमारे टीम में भी आई वाज जस्ट सेइंग कि हमने जो सर रिक्रूटमेंट किया है वो कभी हमने डिग्री के बेसिस पर नहीं किया, हमने स्किल के बेसिस पर किया, हमने उसके पैशन के बेसिस पर किया। कि जैसे मेरा जो कंटेंट राइटर है, ही इज़ एन इंजीनियरिंग बैकग्राउंड पर्सन, मेरा जो डिजिटल मार्केटिंग पर्सन है वो लॉ फेल है, मतलब लॉ करते करते फिर इधर आ गया। तो जो वो कर रहा था उसको मैंने अहमियत ही नहीं दी है। नहीं तो बहुत सारे रेज्यूमे तो HR तक आते आते ही छट जाते हैं क्योंकि वो क्राइटेरिया में नहीं बैठते हैं। एवरी इंटरव्यू इज गेटिंग थ्रू मी। मैं HR को बोलता हूँ कि आपने जो शॉर्टलिस्ट किया है, शेयर मी दोज इंटरव्यू दैट रेज्यूमे, लेट मी गो थ्रू इट। उसमें से देन आई स्किप द एकेडमिक पार्ट ऑफ इट एंड आई लुक फॉर द एक्सपीरियंस पार्ट ऑफ इट, कि उसने एक्सपीरियंस क्या किया है, कहाँ पर फेल हो गया, अच्छा 6 महीने ही काम किया, क्यों 6 महीने काम किया, ये तो उसके साथ इंटरव्यू करने के बाद ही पता चलेगा कि वाई ही वॉज किक्ड ऑफ, वाई ही वॉज शोन पिंक स्लिप। तो जैसे मेरा एक्सपीरियंस बहुत बड़े मीडिया हाउसेस में रहा। आई हैव बीन इन द टॉप मीडिया हाउसेस ऑफ द कंट्रीज, लेकिन द जॉब रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज ओवर देयर इज इन ए वेरी कॉन्फाइंड वे। आपका जो रोल है आपको वही करना है। जैसे अगर आप दिल्ली देख रहे हो तो आपको दिल्ली ही देखना है, आप गुड़गांव नहीं जा सकते हो क्योंकि वो टेरिटरी तो कोई और ही देखता है। अगर एक कॉर्पोरेट है जहाँ पर आप उसको डील कर रहे हो, आप एक लिमिटेशन के साथ ही उसको रेट दे पाते हो। 1 रुपये का भी डिस्काउंट है, आपको प्रेसिडेंट से अप्रूवल लेना पड़ता है, प्रोसेस है, मतलब देयर इज अ सिस्टम विच गोज टू द 10 हायरार्कीज टू गिव यू एन अप्रूवल ऑन वन सर्टेन थिंग। लेकिन फिर वो क्या है, वो तो फिर वो चीज़ हो गई ना जो आपको ड्राफ्ट करके मिला था कि बेटा तुम ये पढ़ोगे तभी एग्जाम क्वालिफाई करोगे। तो वो चीज़ हम नहीं देख रहे हैं क्योंकि ट्रेंड बदल रहा है। फिजिकल ऑफिसेज गॉन आर द डेज, वर्चुअल ऑफिसेज इट्स कमिंग, वर्चुअल कंपनीज वर्क्स। कैसे आजकल एवरीवन, अभी पूरे सिलिकॉन वैली में कैसा चल रहा है, 50% ऑफ द कंपनीज आर वर्किंग इन नो वर्चुअल प्लेटफॉर्म्स। उनके पैसे बच रहे हैं, वो पूरा पैसा बच्चों के मतलब एम्प्लॉयज के इंसेंटिव्स में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं। Instead of investing in the physical offices and these liabilities, let us invest in the prospects and the, उनको मोटिवेट करो ना, उनके लिए पैकेजेस बनाओ ना, उनको इंसेंटिव्स दो ना। सो एवरीथिंग। हाँ, फिर दूसरी बात कहाँ पर आ जाती है कि मेंटल एंड सोशल वेलबींग अगेन वी आर मिसिंग समवेयर। हम इतना टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन हो जाते हैं कि थोड़ा सा पैट नहीं कर पाते किसी को, थोड़ा सा मोटिवेट नहीं कर पाते, थोड़ा सा उसको संतावना नहीं दे पाते, थोड़ा सा उसके नेगेटिविटीज़ के लिए या उसके सोचो कि उसका टारगेट अचीव नहीं करने के ऊपर हम जो बात उसको सुना देते हैं, क्या वो मोटिवेशन से और ऐसी चीज़ें उसको दें जो जिसमें उसका मन लगे, उसमें दिल लगे। हो सकता होगा किसी को, भाई मान लो बटरिंग करना जो वर्ड एक है, बटरिंग करना इज ए स्किल एंड आर्ट, सब लोग नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो अगर बटरिंग किसी को पसंद ही है तो क्या हम उसको एग्जीक्यूटिव या डायरेक्टर का PA बना सकते हैं? क्या हम उसको किसी लीडरशिप प्रोफाइल में, क्योंकि वो ज़्यादा अच्छे से वो काम कर पाएगा, शायद वो आप काम नहीं कर पाओगे। अगर आपका टेक्निकल स्किल है तो आप टेक्निकल स्किल वाला काम करो। हाँ, उस कैटेगरी में वो फिट नहीं बैठ पा रहा है, इसलिए हम उसको बोल देते हैं कि भाई तू तो चापलूस है। चापलूसी करना भी एक आर्ट है, सिखा के भी आप नहीं सीख पाओगे कि चापलूसी कैसे करते हैं। पीपल हैव गॉन टू सच लेवल्स ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर वर्ड एंड दे आर डूइंग ब्रिलियंटली वेल, क्योंकि उनको वही काम आता है। नेता है, पॉलिटिशियंस है, भाई क्या उसने कोई उसका क्या काम, नोबडी लुक्स फॉर द एजुकेशन क्वालिफिकेशन। उसको सोसाइटी से, कम्युनिटी से कनेक्ट करना आता है, उसको वो बात बतानी आती है जो कि उनके लीडर्स पॉलिसी फ्रेम कर रहे हैं। जो गवर्नमेंट में संविधान है उसको वो संविधान को डिक्टेट करना आता है, उसको बताना आता है, लोगों को जोड़ना आता है, एक मिशन की तरफ, एक विजन की तरफ डाइवर्ट करने का प्लान है। यू टॉक अबाउट एनी ऑफ द लीडर्स ओवर हियर, जैसे नवीन पटनायक जी का हुनर था ना, तभी तो बाप रे डेकेड्स आफ्टर डेकेड्स ही हैव रूल्ड दिस स्टेट एंड ही has ruled the state without any mark or dark on his पूरे टेन्योर पे, कोई दाग नहीं है उनके टेन्योर पे। तो ये मतलब तारीफ करने लायक बात है कि the leaders like them can rule this state, then why not we should give the leadership say rights or the say ownership opportunities to the level of a say assistant teacher also। जो भी काम वो लग रहा है तो उसको करना, उसको ऐसा फील होना चाहिए मैं इस काम का मालिक हूँ। तब जाके व्हेन ही अंडरस्टैंड द ओनरशिप ऑफ इट कि भाई इसका नाफा नुकसान तुम्हारे कंधों पर है, देन ही विल स्टार्ट गिविंग हिज बेस्ट डिलीवरी जो हम एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर पाते। तो वो डर हमें निकालना पड़ेगा और वो द लीडर्स हु आर सिटिंग ओवर हियर, ये हमारे ऊपर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बन जाती है कि उनको डांट के नहीं, उनको प्यार से अगर यही काम कराए तो द सेम पर्सन विल बी परफॉर्मर जो इस समय नॉन परफॉर्मर है। एंड थोड़ा सा इन्वेस्टमेंट हम अगर फिनेंसेस पे करें, so I'm glad to share that with that your blessings and patronage, ArdorComm Media Group recently is celebrating her 3rd year of existence with all the roller coaster rides of lots of success and lots of failures. I enjoy failures equally well क्योंकि it gives me an idea टू कि भाई 2 स्टेप लेके वापस से वो एरर्स को वाइंड अप करते हुए अच्छा से डिलीवरी करो. So it's a part and parcel of our journey, and that's what we are doing. And the summit's theme today is the role of professional qualification in enhancing employability, very much aligned towards uh, the NCF 2023 and NEP 2020, where multidisciplinary approach, collaboration opportunities, adoption of new age learning, including AI, ML, IoT, big data, gamification, opportunities in the professional courses, all these things are included. And we have researched a lot and carefully chosen very interesting and relevant topic of the discussion today. And all our special guests and the eminent speakers over here are the stalwarts of the education industry, no doubt about it. And we are shortly going to witness some of the meaningful deliberation. And I'm hopeful that you all will enjoy, learn, and enhance our knowledge from today's roundtable discussions. And also that we are also very much active on our social media platform. अभी सबके पास स्मार्टफोन है, तो एक छोटा सा काम और करना है. इन बिटवीन द सेशन व्हेन वी कैन गो टू द सर्च बार और ArdorComm अगर हम सर्च करें, ArdorComm मीडिया, इट्स अ सिंपल वर्ड, ARDORCOMM. तो एवरी स्पीकर इज टैग्ड ओवर देयर. हमने सबको प्रमोट किया है, इंडिविजुअल क्रिएटिव से भी और कॉम्बो क्रिएटिव से भी. पर क्या आपके ओनर्स को, आपके पीयर्स को, आपके बच्चों को, आपके टीचर्स को पता है कि आप यहाँ पर हो? हम एक दिन की छुट्टी नहीं ले पाते हैं. आपने मतलब बीइंग ए वाइस चांसलर, चेयरमैन, आपने कैंपस से एक दिन की मतलब हाफ डे की छुट्टी ली हुई है. उनको पता तो चलने दे कि हम कर क्या रहे हैं. सो प्लीज टैग योर सेल्फ, प्लीज टैग योर इंस्टीट्यूट टू दैट सोशल मीडिया प्रमोशंस जो हमने किया है, और उनको पता चलना चाहिए कि व्हाट डिस्कशन इज गोइंग ऑन ओवर हियर, व्हाई वी हैव टेकन अ लीव फॉर अ डे, एंड इन व्हाट थिंग आर वी गोइंग इनटू, डेल्विंग इनटू इट. एंड ऑल दिस थिंग, अभी जितने भी पिक्चर्स या वीडियो हम लोग रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं, after one day we'll be creating a glimpse of it, we'll be putting on our social media and website, और वो लिंक हम आपको ग्रुप्स में शेयर करेंगे. So need not to worry about the pictures, photographs and the videos. It will be shared in just one day time. But please tag yourself. इसका बेनिफिट हमें खाली कॉलिंग के लिए नहीं करना है, थोड़ा सा सोशल मीडिया और डिजिटल मीडिया के लिए भी करना है. तो प्लीज यूज दिस चैनल. फेसबुक, लिंक्डइन, ट्विटर, इंस्टाग्राम एंड यूट्यूब, ये पांचों जगह पे ArdorComm मीडिया बहुत आराम से मिल जाएगा. अपने आप को और अपने इंस्टीट्यूट को प्लीज इस पर टैग करिए. सो विदाउट वेस्टिंग मच टाइम, सो गॉड गिव अस स्ट्रेंथ कि जिस पर्पस से हम लोग यहाँ पर मिले हैं वो पर्पस फुलफिल हो. सो एक बार जय जगन्नाथ. थैंक यू सो मच. एंड आई वेलकम Prabhanshu to take over that.
Very good evening to everyone. First of all, my sincerest apology for being delayed. I'm flying from Delhi and my flight got delayed, and I've got some important leadership calls as well, which I had to finish off, which usually like in the corporates overlap my time. So once again, my sincerest apology to everyone. I think some of the points which my dear colleague from ArdorComm and my friend Chandan had talked about. One of the main things which he has talked about a lot about the employability of the students. Now, why is that? The question is, employability covers the two words. It is a combination of two words. One is the opportunity. Are there enough number of the jobs? And the second is about the abilities, which is that do my students have the ability to get or get those jobs in the first place. And I tell you from my own experience, I hire a lot for my own team, which is spread out all across the country, and it is very difficult to get it. So there is enough talent which is available in the market. There are enough number of jobs in the market, but there is always a gap between the talent and what do I need from that talent in order to perform being an employer. And that's something which brings to the first, which is most important point, is the industry and academia. We talk a lot, we think a lot about the industry academia gap. How do we bridge that is a question. The second is technology. Being the educator, I'm sure that you must have been seeing that all of a sudden the assignments which are submitted by the students, the quality of those assignments has improved a lot because of the chat GPT, right? It's a powerful tool. I would not say that it is a tool which is misused or abused, but I think as an educator and as a student fraternity also, how do we make the maximum use of it without abusing that is more important here. I give you an example. I was seeing a video by uh, the guy who founded the Tesla. Now, he was talking about the Apple earphones. Now, many of us use the Apple phones, right? And many of us, or I've seen a lot of people around who keep the earpods into their ear. I don't know why, but they do that. You know, what does it do? It actually tracks your brain, the earpod, and basis on the data which it collects, it converts that data, and then you'll start getting the feed to what you are thinking or what you need as a product. So, for example, if you're thinking of having a coffee in the city of Delhi, you'll have your idea. Then probably you'll start getting the advertisements of Tim Horton and Starbucks around, which are nearby. That's what the power of technology today. That's what the big data is all about. We are going to touch base probably a bit that during our conversation. And the third part, which is very important and the theme of the engagement today, is about the professional bodies. Now, ACCA is one of the leading professional bodies around the world in the field of finance and accounting. We've been in the market since 1904. So 120 years of legacy is what we have been continuing, and I would say that we are a 120 years young organization because we have been innovating and we have been making a lot of firsts in the world. So the first women in the field of finance and accounting has actually come from ACCA in 1909. The first female president, the first female CEO of any professional body has come from ACCA. The first professional body to have IFRS, which is International Financial Reporting Standards, and now India has converged to IFRS in the form of Indian Accounting Standards, has been incorporated by ACCA in 1996. When the European Union started to think of implementing IFRS in year 2002 and 3, and they have actually implemented in year 2005 and 6. So by the time the world was actually looking for the accounting professionals to convert on IFRS, ACCA already had them ready. Integrated reporting we talk a lot about these days. ACCA is the first body in the world to have integrated reporting into its professional level examinations since 2014. So a lot of firsts. I mean, I can just talk about few, but there are a lot of firsts which ACCA has done. And what do we do around the world? We are present in 181 countries today through our member and student base, which is almost 1 million strong. And we work with governments, we work with a lot of government agencies within India as well. We work with industries, we have 7,500 industry corporates which are working with us around the world. 90% of the Fortune 500 companies are working with us. And we work with academia in India and outside as well. Worldwide, we work with almost 1,800 universities, and in India, we are working with close to 145, and the number is growing. So you talk about, we are not very much present in Odisha though, but you talk about any big name in India, and we are working with them. It's as simple as that. What we are looking forward to is to deliberate upon some of the pressing topics to which Chandan had just spoke about. Deliberate, share ideas, and most importantly, network. Now, Chandan has also talked about one of the very important thing which is related to the skills, and ACCA does a lot of research as well. So our professional insight team is 60 years young, I would say. And there is a research which we have done, which is called Digital Account in the Future, which we have launched around a year back. And there are some technologies, in fact, we have gathered that are impacting the accounting professions and the professions across all the sectors at large. Big data I just talked about, but there are virtual reality and augmented reality. Everybody is talking about Apple Vision Pro, IoT in connected devices, digital twin, computer vision, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. But we must also understand as an education is that not all the technologies are adopted at the same pace. I'll give you an example. The social media world, right? Instagram was the company which was fastest adopted during its time, and they reached to 1 million users in 90 days. ChatGPT took 5. So it's all about that how the technology is being adopted and how useful is that. And then there is a significant amount of the investments, particularly before are making in the field of finance and accounting. So because of these things, there are a lot of skills now the future professionals need which are not relevant probably today, maybe 3 years to 5 years down the line. Currently, future at present, professional accountants are looking for the, skills like workbooks, that MS Office suite, cloud storage, databases, etc. But these are going to rank lower in the future, 5 years down the line. And rather, they will be looking for the skills to be added into advanced analytical forecasting tools, RPA. These are the skills which the companies will be looking for in the future. The reason I'm talking about is because as an education, ourselves ready to support the future industry needs. Because when we talk about the industry academia gap, this is the most important aspect is that what do industry need? And we'll also talk about that how the professional bodies like ACCA, through our vast network of the academy, which we are working with around the world, and with the industries around the world, can help bridging the gap between industry and academia. The future accountants will be working more on the decision making. They'll be the part of the decision making table rather than giving some pieces of the information to the CEOs and the CEOs take the decision. This is not going to be the case in the future. They'll be more value creator. They'll be working on the matters like sustainability. They'll be working on the insight generation. They'll be, of course, continuing to work on the compliance and control and the transactional efficiency. But the repetitive jobs like automation process, AP and AR, etc., are going to be automated. And many of those are already being automated. So there will be robots, not the physical ones, but rather the softwares. They will be working on the things which currently the professional accountants are working on. So what the professional accountants will be working on in the future. We all use computers today, right? There was a time when computers have come to the Indian market, everybody was saying that the jobs are going away because the computers are taking them away. But did that happen? The answer is no. The skills required have changed. Now, that may have taken 2 decades or 3 decades then, but probably it will take 2 or 3 years now because the world is progressing far faster than it used to be ever. So with this, I hand it over back to you, and let's look forward. I'm looking forward to have a beautiful deliberation and all of your insights together, so that I can take them back, and of course, we'll mutually learn and maybe money. Thank you.
Start with the roundtable discussion. So what we'll do, as we have decided earlier, that every speaker will be given a 2 minutes time. So respecting that, let us introduce ourselves and opening remarks on the topic of the discussion, which is the role of professional qualification in enhancing employability. How you can give an input on it, any best practices which you have delved into the professional course part of it, or anything as a best practice or a sustainable work which you have done in your institute. If you can highlight that part of it, so it can be a kind of an eye opener or a learning for others to do. And then we'll be delving deep into the theme of the discussion and the pointers which Prabhanshu will be putting the questions across the speakers. So I'll request from Dr. Satya Bharta, sir, the chairman of ODM Educational Group of Institutions, sir, for your opening remarks and your introduction.
Thank you, Chandan. Myself, Dr. Minaketan, the chairman of ODM Group of Institution. First of all, I offer my heartiest gratitude to Chandan, the founder, CEO of the group, and the keynote speaker, Prabhanshu Mittalji, that is for your introduction of topic, the right way. And I offer my heartiest gratitude to all the eminent educationists present over here. And as already stated, the topic is here, the two topics we are here to discuss. First is professional qualification or professional course and the employability, related to the employability. As the ODM, we particularly that I am the learner here, just because I all the time prefer to learn, not to speak anything. Still, the 2 minutes is allotted to me. Let me speak. That ODM deals from K1 to K12 students, as well as the postgraduate students at ODM Business School. And we are now in the Pan-India, having the 8 schools, Calcutta, Delhi, Ranchi, and other states. So point is here, that is whatever my experience we are facing, that is as Chandan says, the employability consists of 2 words, ability and that is called opportunity. That is the most important things that is to discuss here. What kind of ability we are providing? As we know, in the higher education system, the India has taken the top position. It is near about the total institute is 51,649. That is over 20 years the growth of the Indian higher education system. But what is lacking? The lacking is we are not getting good teachers, the skill to teach the skills. We are lacking the skills because the teachers are lacking the skills, and we are not able to produce the skill-based learners. Sometimes it may that is very difficult. It is very difficult to get a good teacher now. Even from the KG to PG, the same thing. Even to teach the KG students, it is a very difficult. That is, if you conduct 100 teachers interview, you will find hardly 1 or 2, and that is not up to mark. So the first question to get, that is to get the skill learners, first of all, we need the skilled teachers. From even that, sometimes when I teach in the management, our management professor says, oh, we are the professors. We are not to learn here. Whatever we have learned, that is more than sufficient. So because that is that we forget, a teacher is a learner first, then he teaches. The moment, because life is a process of learning. The moment we stop learning, we invite our death. That we forget. So that is one practice I all the time I encourage to all the faculties. You learn 1 hour, or that you learn 3 hours, teach 1 hour. Number 2, how to, that is the skill to develop. Now you see that is whatever the Indian system of education we are running, it is completely, we should give the more priority on data science, analytics, cyber security, artificial intelligence, digital marketing, machine learning, and cloud computing, healthcare, and informatics. Bartaman, what we feel, if you ask anyone of our students what you want to be, recently I had taken one seminar. That is the 1,000 students in one hall, because in my class 11 there is 1,000 students, and 12 was the same thing. So that all are saying doctor, पापा ने बोला डॉक्टर होने के लिए, मम्मी ने बोला इंजीनियर, पापा ने, that is papa speaks, I want to be a engineer. Mommy speaks, I want to be a doctor. But there is no other employability in the world. Only two people. One people told I will be a scientist, one told I will be a teacher. So I gave a, that is a token of, that is appreciation immediately. At least one teacher is there, teacher is not going to die. The teacher generation of the teachers is going to die because no one is interested. Then who will teach? Who will teach? Who will create? First of all, this kind of the thoughts we should change. The teachers, they are the more skilled. Teachers should be skilled, and they should create or they should produce the skill learners. Then there will be the employability. The degree has no meaning, it is a get pass. But the knowledge, the information, whatever we are going to read in the book, that is called the information for all of us. But the moment we practice it, that becomes the knowledge. So that kind of the skill to be, suppose whatever it may be, a student, I have seen that 95-99% the students are securing now. In this year, my school that 95% or 150 students are secured. 99 there was 10 students are secured. But out of that, if you ask somebody, they speak few lines before that is the audience, minimum 2 to 3 people will speak and others are not able to speak. Means they may be the good student and they can get the good certificates and that is the marks and everything. But they cannot be the good leader unless until the skill, the soft skill, the interpersonal skill, the creative thinking skill, the ability to be a leader, if it is not created, no employability will be possible, whatever it may be. You may be the postgraduate degree holder or anything. So that is the most important. In every, from KG to PG, all the heads are here. First of all, I all the time to speak my director of my management college. Every day 2 hours teach, yeah, thank you. Teach, that is the soft skill. Then that means they will be prepared, they will be ready to face the challenges of the employability, that is employability. Thank you.
Yeah, so next speaker is like Sunil Kumar Pattanayak, sir, the chairman of Suddhananda group of institution. You can speak, sir, I think that's all. Hello.
Good afternoon, come evening. Myself, Engineer Sunil Kumar Pattanayak, Chairman, Suddhananda Group of Institutions. Glad to meet you all the seniors, Namaskar, and Mr. Chandanji and Mr. Bhubaneswarji, thank you for calling me to give some idea or something I have to learn from you. Suddhananda Group is the group established from 2007. We are having from school onwards engineering, technology and everything. MBA, MCA, architecture, all these courses there. We are having another branch also, Kalahandi and Keunjhar. We are having 2 branches in Odisha. I'm basically a civil engineer, passed out from REC Calicut, in that now is NIT calling, and MTech from IIT Kharagpur. Basic thing, why is education? Everybody is telling something, education, education, education. Why is not calling skill? Why is not coming skill? You can explain one practicing engineer and government engineers. What is the difference between the 2 points? Everywhere they are practicing and opportunity. If you go to the field, you can collect some knowledge. If you go to the skill, then you have some knowledge. Suppose government officer can write everything and going to there, he is going home. One practicing engineer, one practicing person, he has known some knowledge. What is the knowledge? Opportunity, how to get the opportunities. One civil engineering, in that time there is no software, nothing, there are only manual designs and technology, they are doing everything. The software is coming, we are preparing this, all designs within 10 minutes. How it is possible? You are taking the data from the media and everywhere you can getting the data. Now all data is available everywhere. You can pursue the data, then you can go to all designs and everything will complete. You know, valuation, one term is valuation. Previously, valuation purpose, they are engaging some important person, they are coming from outside. Now, lot of opportunities available in India or Odisha for preparing the valuation reports. To how preparing the media and everything. The technology now so developed, and the importance is technology. The software is the main thing. Everything software is available. In survey software available, in practicing software is available, all the softwares. Main thing, the interest. You got the point. If you are having interest, then you got to go ahead. Otherwise, you should not go ahead. I am not telling much time to you. Nowadays, everybody is there waiting. And main thing, you go for the opportunity and talent. Students are you send the industry purpose. Not sending the industry, you send the industry which along with you. What the students are doing in that industry, you have to follow up. And you collect the works from them. Then the skill will be developed. Then India will be developed, and as well as Odisha also developed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Dr. Devi Prasad Misra, the Vice Chancellor of Vikram Dev University, Jeypore.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. Mr. Kumar, Chandan, Anand, founder, CEO and group editor. Mr. Prof. Mittal, and my colleagues present here. It's an opportunity for me to attend such a leadership program. Actually, before that I speak something, let me introduce myself. I am Professor Devi Prasad Misra. I am a retired professor of management from Fakir Mohan University, Baleshwar. I have got 32 years of teaching experience, exclusively taught the students of management discipline. Here we have taken the subject, a topic that is very interesting one, role of professional qualification in enhancing employability. It's a really very good topic. The question is, where it lacks. I have taught 32 batches of students in my life, particularly management. MBA students means they are professionally qualified, we call them. But I find only 50% of them are employable or they have got employment. Where is the lacuna? So when I got the opportunity to build the management department in Fakir Mohan University way back in 2004 and 5 session, immediately I brought to my Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, providing management degree is not enough. The students cannot get employment. Then he asked me, what do you want? I said that no doubt it is a new university as well as the new department. Initially, at the very beginning, we have to establish an industry academia cell. Because Baleshwar, there are in and around Baleshwar, there are 4 to 5 major industries. First, what I did, I have called all the senior managers to our board of studies. And before that also, I talked to my vice chancellor that there should be a 3 years executive program, and that was nicely run for certain years, but because of certain problem, we dropped that. But there, when I introduced the members in the board of studies, they have given us a very good suggestions. How to design your course curriculum, how to make this cell dynamic and vibrant, so that your students can have a better exposure. And later on, we found that with some kind of this type of inputs, I got my department has got more placement. After that, 70-80% students, even it is a government institute, we need not go to the organization, just we write the letters, they come and they select the students' placement. So that was a practice I adopted there. To some extent it clicked, we got the positive result. Now things have changed. So what at this stage, mere degree, knowledge on the subject is not enough. We have to enhance our skill. As some speakers told that AI, data analytics, data mining, more recent things, we have to induct in our course curriculum, make the students well acquainted with those things. They can develop their skill,
Yes,
knowledge.
We'll coming in the second round. Yeah.
Okay. So by this we can get more employment opportunities for particularly for the professionally qualified candidates. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you very much for giving me
Thank
the
you for
opportunity.
your input, yeah. Professor Supriya Pattanayak, Vice Chancellor, Centurion Universities of Technology and Management. Odisha.
Yes,
For your opening remarks.
thank you. Mr. Anand and Mr. Mittal. Oh, we have Mr. Rajvanshi who's joined as well. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm actually, just to give you a little bit of my background, I'm actually a trained professional social worker, and I have also worked for several years in the field of development. So I'm a development worker. And now I head this institution for the last, since 2018. So it's quite a few years now. Anyways, I just want to tell you, because you talked about the two, some best practices, I'll just limit myself to that. And I think one, I would like to say, because the role of professional qualifications in enhancing employability, we are a skills university at Centurion University. And what we do is we try and integrate skills into higher education. So I think that is one of the first primary best practices that we have. We started off with training people, young school dropouts with skills. And that was under various schemes of the government, and we got them employment. But then we realized somewhere along the way that we're probably not doing enough for the higher education. So we started looking at how do we. So we right now have about what we call about 125 skill electives that we offer to our students from which they can choose. And we have about 45 what we call domain specializations. And that is across the university. So for all programs, it's not limited to engineering or, and it also means that it can be multidisciplinary. So students can take any one of them. So this is one key thing that I want to say. The second thing we have also done is that normally any curriculum would have something like theory, practice, project. And we have actually included a fourth aspect, and we call it the product. So every student, when they finish a degree, actually has to have some product which they have developed. And again, this is across all disciplines. I just want to say two things that I think are very different, and which is purely from my perspective as a professional, is that we have actually incorporated one unit which goes 4 credits, which goes across the university. And I think this is a practice which will help employability in future. And this is a subject called gender, human rights and ethics. And I think that is something which is very much required for the future workforce. We also have included another subject which we give to not all programs, but quite a few, which we say is climate change and sustainable organizations. So I think these two, if you look at it, what are the key concerns of the future? Sustainability. So if we don't look at these two aspects, then somewhere I think we are we are failing our students somewhere. And I think they need to be very aware. And I think with that, I'll stop here. I think I'll pass on the mic.
Yeah. Very important element you talked about on gender, human rights and ethics. Now, very few universities are doing work into this. So my best wishes to your whatever development you are making in that. So the next speaker is Professor Dr. Prakash Kumar Hota. He is the Vice Chancellor of Dreams University, Cuttack.
Good afternoon to all of you. Let me first tell about myself. Basically, I am an electrical engineer. I have delivered 37 years of professional service to VSS Guda in different positions, you can see. I was the first principal of Pattanayak Engineering College, Barampur. I was the principal of CET Bhubaneswar, which was converted to UETR now. And I retired from VSS after 37 years of service at the Dean School of Computer Science. Why I am telling you? Because I am a core electrical engineer. Only the skill I acquired within that 37 years, that too it is not IIT or NIT. I did my degree from NIT Trichy. It's a very good 9th position in the country. But what about VSS? It is not that highly ranked. But I could able to acquire the necessary skill. So my point of discussion here is that never think that skill can be done if you put these courses, that courses. My thinking is something different. Why so? Because telling something, training something, that is different. For an example, a lot of the university or the colleges in Odisha also, in the public sector as well as private domain, what they are doing. When the students entered, I am talking about the engineering, let us say first. Soft skill go on giving the soft skill training. 1 or 2 months I have taken this programming. They have taken, then the course, regular courses will be going on. When they will be landing for the interview, do you think that that habit will be continuously coming? Answer is no. My perspective is that since the NEP 2020 talks about carefully all the faculty members, the decision maker, the policy maker of the university, everybody should know. Without knowing that, they should not haphazardly tell, take this course, put this course, introduce this course. The student will be confused. For an example, when the MBA students, because so many law and MBA people are here, I understand. First, the student should be told why, after all, in the industry or a corporate house, hire a MBA graduate. From the very beginning, a student should be very clear. So these are the things for which MBAs are hired. Because the student, when he joined the first year, you will understand industry. Why MBA will go to the industry? Why another person will go, law graduate will go to the industry? So those things, the teachers should tell or spell out very clearly to the student. What will happen? From the first year itself, student will be knowing that. Let us say my teacher told, for these 3 aspects, I will be hired. So he will be automatically scaling himself. Second thing, major drawback in our Indian system is that almost all don't expect that everybody is coming from what you call English medium schools, local language, Odia medium school. I am talking in context of Odisha. A student is good enough, but he doesn't have confidence to speak. Particularly, he knows the subject. So who will create that bridging between the students and the teacher? That means the teacher has to create a different kind of or the innovative kind of pedagogy, how I'll teach, so that almost all the students, let us say weak student sitting at the back, he will get a chance to communicate with the teacher. So digital transformation, when it has come, what we are doing? We are putting the digital boards on this slide that is coming, displaying. By doing that, do you think that everybody will be having that quality? No, because many of the student intake is more, 80 students. One teacher is teaching, putting the slides and all. But have you ever thought all the students are getting a chance to communicate? Answer is no. So pedagogy has to be changed. So what I mean to say that any institution, may be public, may be private, may be engineering, medical, doesn't matter. If you want to really skill the students and you want to make them industry ready or employability we are talking about, you create that atmosphere. For example, some speaker told, first thing, you put AIML, put this thing that who will teach that? Are our teachers adequate enough to teach that? Answer is no. So that's why provision has been made that nowadays, this professional skill we are talking about, qualification, a professor in university will hire, means he should have PhD. Yes or no? Associate professor, this thing, that thing. No. A simple BTech, simple law graduate can be hired as a professor of practice. AICT, UGC, every university, particularly multidisciplinary university, are doing that. You hire the people who, suppose you will ask me, you skill them in particularly law or some kind of thing. It is not my domain. I may be a very great professor. I will be not doing the justice. You hire the people. So the policymaker should think, if you want to really skill them, and you want to implement the NEP 2020, first of all, I don't know, I am not telling any, 100 something pages of NEP 2020. These documents should be read by the policymaker of any institution, on the top management. They should decide to implement this one. Whether we are overburdening the student, where is the time? Because they are having normal courses, then this course, value-added course, that course, is it possible? So this is the point of discussion. Everybody should think, and accordingly, the skills of the faculty members or the trainers, that should be uplifted, then only the student things will be done. That is my perception.
We'll come back sir, next time.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. But very important point you made, sir. Innovative way of pedagogy and teaching, it should be happening.
Detail, sir, I will be talking about
Absolutely, yes. Then we invite Dr. Vibhuti Bhushan Pradhan. He is the Pro Vice Chancellor, come Registrar from Shiksha O Anusandhan University, Bhubaneswar. Over to you, sir.
Very good evening. I think I am virtually a commerce graduate, so I looked into the accounting and finance spirit. So when you say accounting and finance spirit, I think I will speak of three things. At that time only you started teaching only commerce. Then commerce is switched over to MBA. Then MBA becomes switched over to so many things. So there is one side. Another side, the standalone normal university has diversified to the multidisciplinary universities, standalone universities, skill universities in another side. And another side, there is a growth and there is a development of the digital technology. So I think we have to play our role in between those sectors. So when you are doing that, then you have to see the attention or our contribution to the society at large, because our end product will be the society. So along with the basic conceptual foundation teachings, one has to give much more emphasis to this employability. So I will say that this session is virtually associated with the employability is the first question. Then it goes to the through the professional qualification. So I will make it in 4 phases. One is which employability skill you have to discuss. Which employability skills you have to discuss. How to develop the employability you have to discuss. How to measure the aspects, the employability also you have to look into. And at the end, you have to see what you lose by focusing the employability. So once you discuss the every aspect, you may be able to come out with a better dimension for our this panel, particularly for this open discussion dialogue. There is one. Another thing, the introduction of NEP has given us a new dimension. The NEP has said that we also introduce the Bharatiya knowledge system in our education system. So if you see the Bharatiya knowledge system, then I used to go back that all these 16 Vidyas and 64 Kalas, why not introduce those concepts and to make the people skill oriented and to become to make the education as a holistic approach and make the society a better society within the digital technology. With this brief, I start this brief.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Professor P.C. Biswal, Director, International Management Institute, Bhubaneswar.
Good evening. So, Chandan, we have 2 minutes, fine. This is for opening remarks. Yeah, all right. So then probably we'll have the further discussion on it. So let me just introduce my institute first, then myself. So as I said, Director, International Management Institute, Bhubaneswar. I joined as the director this April only. So prior to this, I was there with MDI Gurgaon. International Management Institute, it is backed by the RPSG group, RP Sanjeev Goenka group, and there are 3 campuses we have. So one in Delhi, one in Kolkata, and one in Bhubaneswar. So Delhi campus is older one, and Bhubaneswar and Kolkata campus, the both of the campuses were started somewhere way back in 2011 and 12. All right. Yes, it's a purely business school. It's not a university, business schools, and we have the programs like PGDM, which are equivalent to the MBA. We have also the APM, which is equivalent to PhD. Fine. Other online and the training programs. These are the various different activities we do. Then coming to this theme of the role of professional qualification in enhancing employability, and as the opening remark, when you talk about professional education, usually we look at skill-based education. That's what we refer to, right? Not the knowledge-based so much. So typically we get into the other qualifications, those are knowledge-based, and professional qualification, we say whether it is engineering or the management, which is MBA, or actually the medical and all, these are the professional education, because largely focus is on the skills, not on knowledge so much. So when you talk about the skill based education and their employability, fine, so whether they create the employability actually in the candidates or the students. So let me bring here 2-3 facts, figures. Recently from the India, actually the skill report, which was recently actually published, 2024, talks about employability skills of Indians. Of course, it is improved. So there are 51.25% actually the students of these professional actually the educations, because this was conducted in the professional actually among the professional student, 51.25% actually the students are employable. So that means roughly 50% are employable, 50% are not employable. That's on an average. But among the professional actually the education, if you look at it, MBA comes at the top. Around 71 point something, fine. Something less than 72% of MBA students are employable. Next come in engineering, the hierarchy is the 66% around the IT engineers are employable. Then comes computer science, which is around again 65 or something. Then comes electronics and communication. This is how you look at the employability point. So all these are professional educations and they are skill-based educations, but you look at the employability stints are still the employability actually not there. Okay. So now the question comes, what are the reasons behind it? There are 50% of our actually the skill-based or professional students, those who are not employable. So as we go in the next round, probably actually I will delve more into it and try to see what are the reasons why employability is not there. Fine. probably the next round. Since in this round, let me stop at this point saying, see, if you look at it in this way, every skill, we think, because we are talking a lot of skill-based education. One sentence here I'll say, we'll actually elaborate more on this. Every skill has its life cycle. Because the way things are changing, we talked about technology, point. The pace at which technology is changing, the pace at which we are actually adopting the technology. Every skill, all the who are going to be impacted by this technology change is largely skill-based education, not the knowledge-based education. Skill-based education should have a continuous learning and lifelong learning process should be on, because every skill has a life cycle. It becomes obsolete after some time. So unless and until we find ways to make it a lifelong learning process in the skill-based, whether reskilling, upskilling, and coming out different certificate and professional, actually the qualifications in between, so it is becoming actually the difficult employability, because there is no lifelong employment. You have to work on the lifelong employability. Lifelong employability will come if you keep on updating yourself, keep acquiring the skills, because it keeps at a very fast pace, it changes. All right, with this, let me stop here. We'll elaborate and discuss more in the next round. Thank you.
Lovely said, Vishwan sir. In fact, reskilling, upskilling should be definitely looked into it. And that's the only way how we'll sustain and survive in the coming, the changing environment of the education. We invite Professor S. Pepin. He's the director of Srishti Academy of Management, Bhubaneswar.
Very good evening to all of you. My name is known to all of you. Currently, I am heading Srishti Academy of Management. Prior to that, I had the privilege of heading and setting up 4 schools of studies in XIMB: Rural Management, Sustainability, Liberal Arts, and Public Policy and Governance. I would like to focus on the word employability. For me, this word is surrounded by 3 other words, again with 3 E's. One is the employer, employee, and the ecosystem. We keep hearing, AI, ML is going to take over. Technology is changing very fast. Skill as a life cycle. All wonderful things we hear. But when I look at the skills which my mother taught when I was a baby, or let us look at another scenario. MBA graduate in MDA Gurgaon or IMI or XIMB or IIMs must be paying 25 to 30 lakhs, okay? And they are all well placed, right? But we never hear the word employability when it comes to farmers, when it comes to fishermen, when it comes to, let us say, masons, right? Can we say that they are not employable? So how could they become so very employable generations after generations? So I just want to stop here. I think we have failed to learn from the ecosystem that taught us life skills. We in academic institutions, we have gone away from that. And we are following, our students are not industry ready because we are following the great disruptors in the world today, be it Apple, be it Google, be it Amazon, you name all the 5 or 6 or 7 players who are ruling the world today. And we have fallen into that trap. The entire academic community is sucked into that. So when are we going to free ourselves? So with this, I stop here. We'll discuss later.
Yes. Well said, sir. But I do have an answer to your that part, why Mason's boy becomes Masons or agriculture, because everything was, he has born and he has seen that. So since the childhood, that inculcation was there in his, in his DNA, कि भाई यही काम करना है and this has a potential. उसको एक level ऊपर ही लेकर गया होगा. But how we learn is कि एक तो 10th 12th तक तो पहले engineering और management bio के पीछे चले गए. Yeah. But good point you put, sir. That is putting us to a different debate again. Yes. Life skills is very important. That is one thing we have to focus. Yes, we invite Dr. Pritam Pal, Director, Regional College of Management, Bhubaneswar.
Thank you, Mr. Anand. Thank you, Prabhanshu, for inviting me here to share space with stalwarts in academia in Odisha. I represent Regional College of Management, the first management college of Odisha, established in 1982, and focused across a lot of alumni of more than 16,000 who have been in the enterprise and corporate world building for the last 42 years. I hail from a corporate background personally. I'll just keep it very short about myself. I'm an engineer. I've done my MS in computer science from Boston, did my PhD and 2 more masters in computer science again from Liverpool. I've been in the field of education, not as much as all the stalwarts here. I joined RCM post being a CEO to Swash Convergence in Delhi for almost 15 years and worked with Microsoft earlier to this from 2020. Keeping it to that and coming to this small point here and agreeing a bit too much with Pipin sir is at RCM or in my own personal opinion, I do not believe much that today or in the last 50 years degrees ever mattered. Success doesn't come out of degrees. Degrees is just another platform or another stage that you cross. There is nothing known as a professional qualification. It is just how we humans put, smart, peppy English behind it. So BTech is professional, MBA is professional. Doesn't work like that. There is no end to skills. Starting from, maybe cutting onions in the morning for your salad, all the way till, designing and machine learning. I believe that, as Sir very rightfully said, and I genuinely agree with him, that I won't say it's a trap, but I believe that we are pushing through and thinking about a lot of virtuality. We are talking about a lot of computing, a lot of AI, ML. What India academia is not understanding is that we are supposed to be behind it. So it's my point of view is this, I'll keep it very short, is that the role of Indian academics and Indian students in not enhancing employability, in creating employability, which matters now. It is not about following and using AI ML, these computing. So there was a time when computing was used. Okay, humans knew that I used to use computing or technology, whatever way you say, or any tools, when starting from maybe a scissor, okay, to the best computer in the world, or starting from ENIAC till quantum computing today, to ease my work, to do things faster. Now, somehow or the other, because of I don't know, maybe laziness or maybe fear or maybe being too individualistic, things have gone to the extent where computers are telling us what task we are supposed to do. So the master has changed. To change that master, academia needs to put in depth that confidence within the students to understand, to be behind technology, pushing it to use for human side. I need to use technology to enhance my own life or my own lifestyle or my own work, rather than being dependent on skills, okay, which I have to acquire just to work for the computing system. So I'll keep it short. We'll take it in discussions later.
Yeah, well said, Dr. Peter. We'll invite Professor Itishri Padhi, Principal, BJB Autonomous College, Bhubaneswar.
Thank you. I am Professor Itishri Padhi, BJB Autonomous College, Bhubaneswar Principal, and I am a trained social anthropologist. I think my personal factors are relevant to this topic of today, role of professional qualifications in enhancing employability. I have completed, after PhD, I have completed my DLit in social anthropology, and my studies are mostly on gender studies, which are around problems and issues relating to women and children in childhood. My professional qualification has helped me, contributed me a lot to develop skill in what I am today, as a skilled teacher, as a skilled academic administrator, and as an anthropologist, understanding better man-to-man relationship, man-society relationship, and that is why I contribute my professional qualification a lot for what I am today. Now, as a social anthropologist, I just think educational institutions are not just buildings of brick, stone or concrete. And we faculties not only always talk and talk. Educational institutions are like, they are human institutions with blood, soul, and ethics, values, and brain. So, what is going on nowadays for regular students? I think some global issues should be added to the regular curriculum. And I think issues like climate change and issues like protection of blue and green. Blue, I mean sea, and green, I mean forest, which are very much important for safe survival of human being. And of course, mental health, which puts a threat to mostly the youth population. And all these issues, the students should be allowed to learn the skill to handle these issues, so that we can see a bright future, as professional qualifications and skill development are two most important components of our nation's growth and development. Thank you all.
Well said, ma'am. Thank you so much. We invite Dr. D.N. Misra, Principal, DAV School of Business Management.
Good afternoon, namaskar to all of you. I am Dr. D.N. Misra, Principal of DAV School of Business Management. I am representing from educational agency, that is DAV College Trust Management Society, which is the oldest trust of education, having 1,000 campus across country. We believe on quality and value-based education. The today topic is very contemporary topic, particularly employability. The crux is that I believe there is a mismatch of expectation between corporate houses and students. And some of our speakers, they are revealing the data of Indian Skill Report 2024. Sir mentioned that 51.3 is the employability rate of our young students. It validated. But it is a feel-good factors. In comparison to last 2 years, there is an increase, maybe 1%, 2%. If you refer the data in 2021, that was 45.9, but now 51.3. So it is a feel-good factors for all the educators sitting here. There is a progressive employability skill. So as far as my understanding, it is a collective efforts of all the stakeholders to enhance the employability skill. We cannot be part of the blame game. We cannot say that students are responsible, faculties are responsible, policymakers is responsible. Sir is also mentioning we cannot blame the government. So it should be a collective responsibility to enhance the employability skill. If you revisit the reason, many reasons will come: lack of market-driven curriculum, lack of efficient faculties, lack of skill orientation, lack of infrastructures will be there. But despite of all odd challenges, we have to think about the mitigation strategy. As far as my understanding, which I have tried in our institution, I always talk to the students that you adopt the balance scorecard. Usually, as we are having many schools, I've interacted with the school students also, the students having a mindset of enhancing the scorecard only. So this is why, particularly in the higher education, we are trying to adopt the balance scorecard. We are saying give more priority to the skill orientation. In the long run, they are able to make up. So that is my concept about the employability skill. So everybody should make best efforts how to enhance the employability skill of the student, so that we are able to create a very good talent for our country. Then regarding the best practices, I would like to share what is being executed in our institution, particularly Devi School of Business Management. I believe to enhance the skill through beyond classroom activities. Particularly, we organized multifold activities: seminar, workshop, symposium, business game, management game, panel discussion, brainstorming sessions, in any financial or economic policy matter, where we are giving top priority to the students. Even if we are inviting the guest, but we are giving opportunity to students to deliver, because we are making the career of a students. If we give the opportunity to the students, we are able to find out the gap and we can groom. So that is our best practices, always having more and more students driven activities. As many they are talking about the presentation skill, many students are not able to present because we are not giving opportunities to them. If we will give the opportunity, I am sure each and every student can shine, have a better tomorrow in the years to come. Thank you everybody being part of such a wonderful program. Particularly, I convey thanks, gratitude to all of you to organizing such good program. Thank you.
Yeah. Good inputs, Dr. Prasad. We invite Rajat Kumar Malik. He is the principal of Kalinga College of Commerce, Bhubaneswar.
Thank you, sir. Respected Chandan sir, CEO, ArdorComm Media, and respected Prof sir, keynote speaker, and my honorable panelists present here. I am Rajat Kumar Malik, principal, Kalinga College of Commerce. This college runs under Upasana Education Trust since 2005 and under the active and strong leadership of our chairman, Mr. Diptiranjan Misra, and his and our management team. More particularly, Upasana Education Trust is a major skill training partner of National Skill Development Corporation or Skill India, Government of India. It provides many skill training programs throughout the state, and also under the leadership of our chairman sir, we are implementing so many skills for our students. And so far as my view is concerned, coming to the topic, professional qualification and traditional academic pattern, whether it is complementary or not. No doubt it is complementary. Both are complementary, they cannot be substitute. But a problem lies with its implementation. There is lack of proper implementation of professional skills or professional knowledge, which is already included in our current syllabus. Now, as you know that we are running graduation courses under state new syllabus CBCS system. And under CBCS system, sir, I am also agree with sir, my teacher, Dr. D.N. Misra, that there are 4 to 5 papers which are already skill based, just like communicative English, environmental science, ethics and values, and 2 or 3 papers that is computerized accounting. Fintech is also there. It is already included in our CBCS syllabus. But question arises that in spite of its inclusion, we cannot say this is a traditional pattern. No doubt we are going to face the NEP 2020, perhaps it may be from 5th September, perhaps it may be. But my point is that there is a lacking of implementation, so that professional skills and traditional academic pattern lacks collaboration, and we will discuss it later. Okay, thank you sir.
Thank you, sir. You put a stress on lack of implementation. That is again a very important factor which we are delving into, and the outcome will come hopefully from this discussion, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I next invite Professor Dr. Manmatha K. Rao, is the principal of Gita Autonomous College, Bhubaneswar.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the ArdorComm Media and ACCA for organizing this Education Leadership Symposium and having me here. I am Dr. M.K. Rahul, Principal, Gita Autonomous College, Bhubaneswar. Gita Autonomous College, Bhubaneswar was established in the year 2004, and it is imparting professional programs like BTech, MTech, MBA, MCA, and PhD programs. And it is being ranked by NIRF continuously. And this year also, it was ranked by NIRF among the top 300 institutions in the country. Now coming to the topic, the role of professional education in enhancing employability. Now everybody knows that professional education plays a pivotal role in enhancing employability. they not only equip the students with the right skills and knowledge that is required to excel in their professional field, they are also increasing, they are enhancing their credibility, and also they are enhancing their earning potential. Now the question is, which professional course one should choose for? One should opt for which professional course? In the words of Einstein, everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. So everybody is born with a certain inherent strength. Now it is the role of the teachers, role of the parents and the guardians to identify that strength in the student, and they should guide them to the right career, right professional course. If a student is interested in engineering, he should be advised to pursue that course. If he is interested in, say, law or accounting or in some other professional course, he should be guided to choose that professional course. Because no professional course is superior over others, choosing the right path, right career, it will be helpful in enhancing, that will give the right platform to the students. Based on my experience, I believe that if a student is sincere, hardworking, and is genuinely interested to learn new things from different platforms like Coursera or the SWAYAM NPTEL, so securing employment or securing a job is not at all a problem or a challenge for them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. In School of Commerce, XIM University. Today's topic in this symposium is apt to the present day context, the role of professional qualifications in enhancing employability. My predecessors have already spoken about employability. I will also stress upon the fact that employability is a big question in the today's context, in the today's world rather. When there are so many uncertainties, there are so many geopolitical tensions, when the market is not doing well, we say the market is bad. When we say employability, my predecessors, some of them have already said 51% are employable. That means the problem lies with the remaining 49%. So where is the problem? What is the problem? Have we tried to understand that? The time has come to understand that. Last month, a couple of months ago, we heard that IIT graduates are not employed. So so everybody was taken by surprise that IIT graduates are remaining unemployed. India is going to be the third largest economy very soon. That means we need professionals. If we talk about the commerce graduates or the accounting and finance professionals, since we are doing this symposium with the collaboration with ACCA, let me focus on accounting and finance professionals because I also belong to that area. Professionals are required in every field. So accounting and finance professionals are required. And this is one of the important areas. We talk about fintech, we talk about many things, that technology is taking away the jobs. Technology will remain. Technological disruptions will be there. It was there 20 years ago. It is there today, and it is coming in a big way in future. Are we ready for that? Are we ready to embrace the change? If not, then we are lagging behind. I'm not saying corporates are not ready or the students are not ready. The candidates are not ready. Everybody is doing their bit. All the stakeholders are doing their bit. But it seems that it's not adequate. If 49% of the graduates are not employable, that means all the stakeholders have to put in hard work, the required effort to make them employable. The onus, the responsibility lies on each one of us. not only the educators, but also the corporates, but also on the candidates. Now, the other question is, when we say employability, yes, professional qualifications will give an edge to the candidates over others who are not professionally qualified. Does it mean that they will remain employed throughout? That means one has to upskill, one has to enhance the skill sets, because no amount of skill sets will see you last forever. It requires replenishment. So here comes the question of lifelong learning, which NEP also talks about. We'll talk about this more on this later. Coming to the best practices, we encourage our students. We have both UG, PG, PhD programs in School of Commerce. We encourage the students to go for professional education. We conduct awareness program, awareness seminars by calling experts from ACCA, Institute of Company Secretaries of India, Institute of Cost and Works Accountants of India. So we motivate students to go for professional education, because we say that only become or any simple graduate, it's not going to work for you forever. So you have to be professionally qualified so that you will have lots of opportunities in hand. And we also conduct classes for them, coaching classes for them. Now coming to some of my colleagues, my predecessors have already talked about the curriculum. Curriculum is very important in that it has to be relevant to the industry. Is the course curriculum current? For that, we need to work towards that. We have to make it current. And what we do as a practice, I'm going to share with you, when we invite corporate leaders for talks, we show them our course curriculum. We ask for their inputs. We also revise the course curriculum every 3 years, every 4 years, and send them to industry experts to get their views, so that we get some inputs and try to incorporate that as far as possible. We also have a strategic academic advisory board in our school. In that board, we have members from academia, senior professors are there, academicians are there, industry people are there. So they give their inputs. So we try to incorporate them as far as possible so that the course curriculum becomes meaningful and relevant, but still lot requires to be done. When we talk about gap, yes, the gap is there. There are a couple of questions raised by you. The first question was, is the gap there? I mean, I don't remember the exact question, exact words, but the question is the gap there? Since we are talking about that gap, the fact that we are talking about that gap, it gives credence to the fact that there is a gap. I always tell my students that no matter how much we teach in the classroom, there will always be a gap. Because what we teach in the classroom, what the industry expects, there is a lot of differences. So we try to minimize that gap. We try to breeze that gap. But that breeze has to be done in a systematic manner. Professional qualification is definitely required, will give an edge to the students, but everybody is not doing not going for the professional qualification. So what is coming in the way? What are the issues? What are the challenges? Because please remember that the students who are going for the professional qualifications have undergone the traditional education system, and everybody is not expected to be professionally qualified, because the traditionally qualified students also need employment. Are they qualified enough? Are the industry taking them at their face value?
That's a big question. We'll discuss more on this later. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well put, sir. So many of the answers are actually arising in the questions. So when we put a question, there is a lot of answers coming from one question to other. But all of are in, agreeing on one part is that skilling, reskilling and upskilling is definitely important in whatever respect. Yeah. We invite Dr. Deendayal Swain. He is the director of Shri Center of Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Family Business, Shri University.
Yeah, thank you, Chandanji. Thanks, Prabhanshuji and Rohanji and esteemed all very famous people of Odisha, and they marked, their brand in the area of academics. I started my journey with Tatas, then Parle, then teaching since 20 years. I was with IMI. I was talking to Professor Biswal. I'm very happy that once upon a time I was working with IMI. And then Director Rajalakshmi School of Business, Chennai, and Dean for Sri University. And then recently I completed my term happily, and then now teaching and into entrepreneurship. I was listening to Mr. Pal, and that's what. So what I will do is that 2 minutes. So few questions. Do we have clarity about everything? Does the regulator, I compliment UGC and Government of India for at least after 34 years, we have come with NAP 2020. Very innovative thing, but the only thing is that execution. So first, are we having clarity? Does the founders of universities have clarity? What kind of students, what kind of faculty, what is the direction? Do they have clear vision? What to do, what not to do, how much technology? Do they have budget for those technology? AI, ML, machine learning, everything talks about, but do they have budget, dedicated budget? Is there a budget, clear budget for faculty development programs? Are they ready to send faculty to Germany? Or they are correlating with cost benefit analysis, how many numbers student admitted, what is the ROI? So do we have leadership trained? Those people who are leading, are they trained and updated from time to time? Next one is benchmark. So when we offered service, because we are from the service industry, academics, we have 4 gaps: knowledge gap, standard gap, performance gap, communication gap. Do we understand all these stakeholders? Do they understand each other? What is expected out of them? I'm a student, I'm joining. Do I have clarity? Does the institution have clarity, or they have just taken admission money and thank you very much? Bhagwan Bharose. Number 2, do we have a standard? It depends on the institutional level. We cannot ask 5-star facility from a dhaba or 3-star hotel. I'm just using anecdotes without decreasing the value of academic institutions. Now next is performance. If your employees are not performing, are they paid well? If you pay peanuts, you'll buy monkeys. And you are expecting the work of a horse. People don't have 7th pay, 6th pay, 5th pay, no pay. And management says, you have to do this. So I think it's very complex. If I have to be honest, today I will work as a devil's advocate rather than being a popularist viewpoint. It's very complex system. Every institution is unique. They have got their own issues. They have got their own advantages. They have got their own point of differentiation. NEP 2020 have forced all of us to look at academics in a different perspective. Everything was happening earlier. Indian knowledge system was there. Now everybody talks about Indian knowledge system. It was there. We have forgotten. Because we have trained in a US system. Professor Pepin was sharing that article. I am an executive hybrid alumni of Columbia. So Professor Taylor has given that about PhDs. Are we producing too much of PhDs? What to do then? Do we understand why we are producing PhDs? What should be the quality standard? If there is a quality standard, do we have that kind of students? So these are all complex issues. We need to be very, very honest. Put our vision clear. We have to have a vision board. If we require 180 students, out of that 50% will be of this quality and 50% will be this quality. Slow learner, fast learner, what is the modus operandi? What is the backup contingency plan? What kind of faculty we need to train all this? So it's a complex issue. So we will go to the next stage. So 4 gaps. knowledge, standard, performance, and communication. Is there a communication system? A founder to faculty to students, again, parents, stakeholders, again back. Is there a communication channel both way working? Do we understand each other? As a parent, do I understand my daughter or a son is reading in this institution and expectation is this? My kid's performance is this? My financial investment is this? This is my expectation. So does these expectations are realistic? So this is one part. The second part is corporate. I mean, I will tell you, whenever somebody go to a particular position, when you form the board of studies and all those things, do I form the board of studies because I know few of the guys and I will invite them? Or do we have a sectoral representation in my board of studies and academic council? Or just, no, I know 5 people, so I will invite those guys because I'm comfortable with those guys and we will have nice thing. Whatever we do, they will pass and that's all. But do I really invite people who really matters? So, I mean, these are the issues. And when you talk about, academics, it's academics, research, training and consulting. Then you have got corporate relations and regulatory requirements. This is the game. And then, other part, ancillary part, parents and all those things in the ecosystem. So now I will conclude by saying we need to have clarity, we need to have vision, and we need to have dedicated budget for whatever expectations we are having. And as a lot of administrators are sitting, I will request, though UGC has a particular scale and all those things, I visited many of the universities and institutions. Just see a very interesting fact, sir. I will just 30 seconds I will take. 16 lakh companies registered in India. 14,41,560 are active. There are 1,113 universities, 3,000 plus B schools. So if you, total 14 lakh divided by this, it is coming around 300. How many companies does come to an institution for placements? Hardly 30, 40, and then say, no, students are not able to perform, their communication is bad, their performance is bad. Why don't you invite 100 companies, 500 companies, 1,000 companies? Why don't you, segment students, segment faculty, segment companies, segment your placement timings? Why only placement week, the traditional thing? From this to this, 0 days, this. Why not to, segment it? So what, I do, I bring Zumba, I bring Bollywood and Hollywood, I bring case method of teaching. Obviously, I'm an IB trained case teacher. So I bring all these things to the class to make the student express their own feelings and opinions. It's very important. I'll stop here. So clarity, vision, budget, proper investment. Without investment, expecting too much will put us nowhere. We all will be confused. I will stop there for the second round. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, well said, Deendayal. In fact, very apt and in fact very bold questions which you made, which definitely should be answered by only doing the brainstorming among the stakeholders involved and the ecosystem which one is into. As I said in my speech also, every institute is unique in itself. बहुत मुश्किल से एक टैलेंट को हायर किया जाता है, चाहे वो टीचर हो, फैकल्टी हो, जो भी हो. ऐसे मतलब कोई रेफरेंस है तो कोई आते नहीं है, बहुत कम होते हैं. बट डेफिनेटली यू टेक एन एफर्ट इन हायरिंग से ए टीचर इन योर कैंपस, तो कुछ तो रहा होगा. फिर वो कहाँ चला गया? वाई वॉज देयर ए गैप? सो क्या भी हम रीस्किल कर पाए या क्या हम वो इन्वेस्ट कर पाए उनके ऊपर? दैट्स अ क्वेश्चन विच यू आर थ्रोइंग अस टू डिस्कस ऑन. आई इनवाइट प्रोफेसर Parmeshwar Nayak. He is the Dean Birla School of Management from Birla Global University.
Thank you, Mr. Anand. Good evening. I think I will stick to the time and the topic. The topic is role of professional qualifications and for the employability. I think if you take these topics and put in a hypothesis, I think dependent variable and independent variable, say employability and professional qualifications, I think these are not two equal boxes. I think professional qualifications, my answer to this, of course, I would just say that who am I? You all have heard my name. As I come from the business school with an experience of 34 years, both managing business schools as Dean and Director for 20 years and as a teacher, also the development professional for a few years. I have understanding of management professionals, particularly I will say on that, and what the best practices could be, what we practice. That a point because you raised it, Mr. Chandan, I think you raised it. So I think that employability is a big phenomenon, where he said about the ability and opportunity. Isn't it, I think, told about ability here? I think we have to understand this. Ability is something independent of the candidate. Opportunity is given. Either it is given by the employer or the industries, respectively in that domain of engineering or management or whatever. And then arranged placement by the institutions. I am graduates, exam graduates, I am a graduates. You see, they are served, They do not face the challenge. As a graduate from Delhi University, there was no placement, and we struggled with, actually competed with the whole world to get a job. That's why opportunities are, not in really driven from the, or attracted by the candidate who is a professional. So my point is, yes, professional qualification helps enhancing employability, but that is not the only thing that is required for employability. When we talk about employability, what are the requirements? Every employment or job has got a requirement of sets of skill, aptitude, attitude, and knowledge. It is not completely devoid of knowledge. But Professor Biswal says, yes, it is skill focused. Every professional course has to have the focus of skills. But what I have understood with this, so many years of experience dealing with the students is, and the feedback from the industry, people who come to recruit and give the feedback after placing them, dealing with them for 2-3 years, it's not a problem of skills. In this digital era, knowledge and skills are acquired even beyond the classroom. What is missing point is the attitude. So I will tell you the ask, order, attitude, skills, and knowledge. So I think and the attitude is something which cannot be taught through this only professional course unless and until you do something else beyond the usual curricular activities. So what do we do? I come to the next point of what you should do extra thing, because all the MBA programs, if you look at it, everybody is designing the syllabus by benchmarking with the best business schools or universities in the world, taking the input from the industry, nothing new. Every institutions are doing it. But if we look at it, the gap, I think that something which professional qualifications should add on is the social skill, which is missing. This Gen Y and Gen Z population who are going to the market or industries are not having adequate right attitude or the social skills. So in the School of Management in the Birla Global University, what we have introduced is called Social Immersion, Responsible Management and Corporate Citizenship Program, which gives 45 hours of ground field orientation. The students who join our university, 90% of them have not been seen the village, have not dealt with the less privileged people. How to deal with the customers who are less privileged if they do not have that attitude? And employers have said that the moment our students join, they ask for, always that high profile job and the status, but not to deal with those things which are related to society. We relate everything that students work for SDGs, Sustainable Development Goal of United Nations, and we are, because of our work, the PRME, if you know that, we are PRME signatory. So students get exposure to deal with some people to whom they have never interacted. They do not know the understanding of social issues. The even students are involved in, just to cut short, later on you can ask me questions, I can give the details. So making them socially responsible professional, not technically or professionally qualified degree holder to be employable. Because employment, again, even with the degree also, it is not guaranteeing them to be employable. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Invite Professor Priyadarshi Biswal, Dean, Career School, KIIT, Deep University.
Thank you so much. Very good evening, esteemed organizers Kumar, Chandan, Anand and Prabhanshu Mittal ji, besides Rohan Rajvanshi. And definitely it's a privilege for me, in fact, to be among these academic luminaries who hail from the topmost institutions of the state itself, majorly Bhubaneswar and its periphery. Well, the topic is pretty debatable, and I would like to be, I've been very objective in my approach itself. So when you say employability and professional qualification, their aptness, how far they're able to build up a sense of employability among people. So, well, I would slightly agree with, Professor Naik, who was writing something on employability itself. When you call it, it's a kind of, you have coined it in a different way, putting opportunities and ability together. Or you may call it preparedness of the people as such. So, well, I understand it is pretty reciprocal, right? Creating a specific ecosystem for the same is very important. When I say so, say for example, somebody is very much prepared, somebody is very much able, as you rightly pointed out, Mr. Swine, like opportunities are not there. So, well, then the question of employability again is lost as such. Or somebody who is very much prepared, well developed, not only employable, maybe he's quite deployable. Probably industry is looking after deployable workforce these days. They have gone beyond this level of employability to deployability as such. So when it comes to one's competence of building, somebody is built up, but he has not been given an opportunity. Could we call him that he is not employable? Or opportunities galore, plenty of opportunities are there for some people, and these people are not ready. So I guess actually both are reciprocative. They go together. Equally, when we talk about, competency building, we should also think about the plethora of opportunities for all these competent guys. So, well, when it comes to KIT as a case study, I have already told, like I'll speak to, to the point itself. So what exactly we have tried to do, basically we are a huge university, and as far as the entire student database is concerned, it's quite high, and we are pretty interdisciplinary as well. So focus here is not just to be employable or deployable. We would like to give a kind of career to each of the Kitians. So what primarily we do, in fact, we start up with a kind of, capturing the aspirations of the student from the very beginning semesters, irrespective of the programs or disciplines. So we capture the student's aspiration. And basing on the aspiration, which are again, like with some psychometric tools also we use for such kind of, capturing the aspiration process itself. So what we do, in fact, later on, with that data, we actually do a kind of students baselining from the very beginning itself, mapping their aspiration with the level of preparedness or potential. So in that way, exactly, we not only create a kind of ecosystem where they could recognize their own weaknesses, even we actually get to understand the gap which they do have. So basing on that, actually these are the pointers. We immediately, in a span of couple of years of professional education, especially I talk about majorly on engineering side itself, including management, because the span of the degree is only for a couple of years, all of us know. And with the NEP being aligned in our campus especially, like all the degrees have been put into 4 years of study, irrespective of, engineering, science, non-science, or any other subject. So immediately after a couple of years of their study, because once we create a kind of profiling of the student, individually we track students, preparing a dedicated dossier for an individual of a student. And since we have tied up with several industries, and industry have been a part and parcel of our academics, very practically speaking, we have come up with several co-branded, co-created curriculum where industry has shared their views, and industry have been a part and parcel of training this entire students community. Thereby, we are bringing the problems of the industry to the students. So these industry problems are directly solved through the dedicated mentorship of the faculty members. Again, because a lot of discussion was happening regarding how the teachers have to be trained as such. Well, that's another aspect we can delve into it later on. And we also have created some processes where industry have been continuously across multiple competency, whether you call it RPA, whether you call it cloud, whether you call it any, especially in Gen AI is the present go itself. Now it has been mandated in the faculty community to be trained by industry itself, thereby guiding the students to solve the industry problem through the mentorship and support of both industry and the academic community. This is the way how we move forward, and that's the success story as far as making the students employable, deployable, whatever the nomenclature would be. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Dr. P. Prasad, Registrar AIPH University.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening
just
to
a
all.
request, let us get us bound to 2 minutes, otherwise the main discussion and rest of the second round would be compromised.
Okay. Good evening to all of you. Myself, Dr. P. Prasad. My education background is in computer application and cybersecurity, and as well as I'm the strong background in fintech technology with blockchain. Recently, I completed and certified from the Dubai Blockchain Council, as well as I'm recently qualified in Indian Blockchain Council also. If you search in Google, you will get my profile in the top 10 of Blockchain Council India. So, for a professionally, if I'm saying myself that as a teacher also I worked, as an administrative officer also I'm working right now. What the gap is there, that I will be clear out that with the faculty, with the teacher, with the students and faculty between that, because teacher have their 100% knowledge, they are given their efforts, but student didn't catch that much of that. So before what I see that before I beginning any academic year, I planned what that interaction with the mentor and mentee, means teacher and student. What student need, they can write one paper and put in a box, and teacher also need to be write and put on a box, and they will choose in between that whose teacher is equal to that student. They can find out that and they can discuss about that, then they can start their curriculum part. First this thing majorly I do that. Second, the major thing I'm saying that whoever the student, if I am taking in our background in the field of technology, in the field of management, in the field of healthcare, the student didn't know about till 12th standard or till graduate also. They will face the problem from beginning of the 14th education, like masters when they beginning for the searching of job opportunities, searching of the beginning of financial statement of the problems. That we are resolving method of using their requirement of needs in a first semester skills. In engineering background, if I'm say that they need to be becoming a coder first. Without basic code, they can't do anything. In a management field, the basic method is required, MS Excel, MS Office. Without knowing that, he can't do anything in the professional skills. So before entering in the software field or any of the technological field, they need to be first of all understand the base. Without base of pillars, no one candidate or no one teacher can do anything for their professional career. For example, sir, if you just say that the teachers need to be improve their skills, the teacher not need to be improve their skills. Teacher need to be improve, understand the student problem, student ethics, what student need to be understand. Just like sir is say that entrepreneurship, business or startups, we are beginning in the first year, first semester only. But if you give the first semester only in the entrepreneurship opportunity, how they can understand their skills of their opportunity of the job opportunities. So first of all, before beginning that career in entrepreneurship, we need to be given the skills of the what need in the industries that we need to be understand. This is my thoughts, sir. I will pass to my first.
Yeah, well said, sir. We invite Professor Dr. P.C. Samantray, the Director of Suddhananda School of Management and Computer Sciences.
Esteemed Mr. Kumar Chandan, Founder CEO, and Mittal, Head of Education Partnership of Northeast. Galaxy of eminent distinguished speakers on the dais. A very good evening to you all. Jai Jagannath. As after listening very thought-provoking speeches from all the learned speakers, I have added a couple of points to my deliberation. The topic is the role of a professional qualification in enhancing employability. Actually, I would like to bifurcate this in two segments. There is no dearth of acquired knowledge in the present day business economic scenario. What is there is dearth of required knowledge, that is, in other words, we put it in the skill. The acquired knowledge that our students are having, we call it is hard skills. They know programming, they know social media marketing, bookkeeping, spoken English. So these are all hard skills. Our students and our institutions, they are very much concerned about grooming their students in terms of hard skill. There is no scope or little scope when they focus on soft skills. So there is a huge difference between hard skill and soft skill. Industry and academia, and again there is one side is industry, the other side is academia. This in between there is a gap, and that gap is enhancing employability. So the 49% of pupils, students, they are not employable. That creates the gap. So what is that gap? That gap can be bridged through soft skills and on a regular basis. It is not, as Professor Biswal has said, skill has a life cycle. I started my career initially from the cooperative service, Government of Odisha, class 2 service, then switched over to teaching profession, served at Vaikuntham Mehta National Institute of Corporate Management, Pune, Bangalore, Lucknow, and Guwahati. Lastly, Madhusudan Institute of Corporate Management. And after my superannuation, I served in Srishti Academy, BITM, and presently Suddhananda School of Management and Computer. My chairman is in front of me. He has already focused about what the institute is doing at present. So what I meant to convey to this audience is that this gap can be bridged through focusing on the soft skill parameters, that is personality development, emotional intelligence. Last time we have in this room only we have highlighted about artificial intelligence, but I will suggest this ArdorComm next time they can focus exclusively on emotional intelligence. That is very much required in the present day context. I should understand my emotions, should know the person to whom I am taking into my concern. The emotional intelligence that creates a big difference in performing and accomplishing the result. Then lateral thinking, leadership skills, assertiveness, teammanship, team building, time management, presentation skills, ability to participate in group discussion, personal interviews, communication skills, both oral and written, adaptability, critical thinking, creative thinking, work ethics, and collaboration. Many of my seniors, they have thrown light on that. There is, when we are focusing on this employability, employment is there. Even there, 50% of the people who are getting employment, that means they are employable, they are having this employability skill. This employment is, there is, again we can put it, there is no dot of employment, there is a dot of employability. Where there is employment is there, employability is not there. So that employability, when you put it, these 15 parameters, what I would told, that is personal development, emotional intelligence, this leadership, time management, team building, all these things are required. So if these things will be taken into proper care, I hope we will gradually overcome. And this is the stakeholders of every institution, and it is not one, we cannot just do it alone. Both the hands from stakeholders, academia and industry, they will join hands together, that this gap can be bridged gradually in the process. I will conclude just my experience. What I am doing today, tomorrow I am outdated. And what I was yesterday, today also I am outdated. What I mean to say is, my employability is not that required by the institutions needed today. I am talking about when I entered into this teaching profession. At that time, 93, I entered into this teaching profession, and that UPSC that conducted the interview, at that time, 93, I am a pass out from Ravensa, student of economics. I did my PhD.
So this is off track, sir. Can we come back again?
Just 1 minute. Just of course, under the scarcity of time, I am unable to share my experience, how I was outdated.
No, sir. Once upon a time, we'll discuss that later. But
okay.
Let us
Thank you so much for giving me this, but only once again, I just giving emphasis on this soft skill development is very much required to bridge the gap of this employability. Okay.
An emotional part of it, again you put that stress on. Understand. I invite Dr. Devrata Rath, the principal of NIIS Institute of Engineering and Technology.
Good evening to one and all. Myself, Dr. Devrata Rath, presently working as principal of NIIS Institute of Engineering and Technology. Basically, I am a mechanical engineer. As I am listening the Professor Biswal's speech, other professor's speech, and I am linking that data and some others' views with our theme, that is professional qualification, the role of professional qualification in enhancing employability. Okay. From this theme, I will just pick two keywords. One is the professional qualification, and another one is the employability. Okay. These two keywords, if I link to the data of Professor Biswal that he has told, that around 51% are employable in recent scenario. Okay. That means it says that around 49% are still not employed, or they are lacking in somewhere. Okay. This says that there is a huge gap between supply and demand. We can brief it in two words. One is supply and demand. Supply means what? The supply of professional manpower or skilled manpower. And demand is what? The demand of the market, what the industries want. So there is a huge gap between the supply and demand. And if we can bridge we can make a bridge between these two gaps, I think we can overcome this gap, and we can improve the skill of the professionals, and we can reduce the unemployability, and we can achieve this whatever we are now discussing, we can get some result. Okay, with this I will conclude, and in the next session we will discuss what we will go through this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Dr. Dushamanta Kumar Pattanayak, Deputy Director, NIIS Institute of Business Administration.
Warm evening to all of you, despite this freezing temperature in this room. Thank you so much, the organizers ArdorComm as well as ACCA, and my esteemed co-panelists who happen to be the best of the minds in the state, in the landscape of academics, as well as from industry. So, well, it's a privilege as well as disprivilege to be towards the fag end of the panelist, to have the opportunity to air my views regarding the topic. And most of the co-panelists, they have put forward their prudent thoughts, and they have, with their prudent insight, they have focused on the gaps what we do have between the academics as well as the industry. So I would like to focus on the gaps within the gaps. So often we miscalculate and use both the terms technology and skill synonymously, which we should not in fact. Skill is all about using the technology in an intelligent way. So regarding all these professional education, so let me try to make my honest effort to amend a bit with the due permission of the galaxy of intellectuals regarding the role of professional qualifications in enhancing employability. By employability, we should include both the employee as well as the ability of the employers. That gap should be bridged to create more of the employers, in fact, than the employees. The problem of that supply and demand can be bridged if we put our effort, our resources, and our brains to create more of the employers rather than the employees. So we talked about the technologies, we talked about the ethics, we talked about the current disruptive technologies. But one question, some of my friends also raised the issue that this is the skill-based education. But I would, with due respect, I would like to differ with them that without knowledge, is skill feasible? My basic question. And without skill, of course, knowledge will be useless in this present time. So a fusion, an intelligent fusion of knowledge as well as the skills coupled with technological prowess will empower us to bridge this gap between academia as well as industry. A basic question, are we able, just give me an honest answer, are we able to bring our students who are really engulfed and addicted towards all these digital tools and technological products, are we able to bring the students back to the classroom? I hope most of my co-panelists will agree with me with this fundamental question. Are we able to bring back the students to the classroom? Can technology substitute the teachers in the classroom? Technology can be a complement to our effort for excellence. But my personal view is that technology cannot be substitute for teachers in the classroom. So more prominently, our focus should be on nourishing the democratic principles and human values, which needs to be installed in our students first to make the wise use of our technologies and for skills that this, etc. So in our institute, I am the deputy director of NIS Institute of Business Administration. It's a 25 years old institute, and this year we are of course celebrating our silver jubilee. One small practice apart from these advanced tools and add-on courses and super specialization classes as well as professors of practice, a very small initiative we have taken last Independence Day on 15th August, that we have initiated one Constitution Museum in our institution. What is that Constitution? It is a very small thing. One small room is dedicated for that. And all the segments of our Constitution, starting from preamble to different parts of Constitution, and we have enabled the audio-visual system in that, so that the students should at least have a feel that yes, We are the responsible citizens of this biggest democratic country of the world. Then comes the use of technologies, then comes the use of tools, then comes the use of employability and employment. Unless and until a student becomes a responsible citizen, first of all, towards the society, towards the family, towards the class, his batchmates, towards the teacher. Unless we foster the students' respect for the teacher, belongingness for the institute, should we think that we can be the superpower with our intellectual prowess? No. So, first of all, we need to plug the gaps within the gaps. Of course, then our technological platform is there and all the talks of bridging the gaps. It's a different thing to preach and different thing to practice. We have to bridge the gap between preaching and practicing first of all. So this kind of brainstorming sessions is of course very important to come out with our views or expressing our own thoughts so that we can learn from each other. And another thing I would like to request the organizers of this beautiful program that the next time whenever we are organizing such kind of program, all the stakeholders should be invited, including somebody from the government. Because unlike the autonomous universities, as we are the affiliated institutes, honestly speaking, and we are affiliated to the government universities, we are constrained by some time restraints, and all the stakeholders should be taken into confidence, and that communication should be made very clear in fact to bring out the best of the solutions. Thank you.
Yeah, well said, Dr. Pattanayak. I invite Dr. Mrityunjay. He is the professor and head of PG Department of Economics, Behrampur University.
Very good evening.
Remarks. Yes,
yeah, very good evening, all the dignitaries here. Particularly Kumar, Chandan, Anand ji and Prabhanshu ji and all other learned professionals or teachers here. In fact, I am from Behrampur University, and basically we are. I am also heading few other department there. I am the director of Center for Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy, and also nodal officer of Association of Indian University Academic and Administrative Development Center, and also joint director on another Center of Excellence on Climate Change and Disaster Risk Reduction. So I will be very brief. In fact, I have already many things have been discussed here. I don't want to repeat all those things, looking at the time shortage of time. So I would like to say something. There are, in fact, we are having a actually a largest democratic country, and even we have surpassed China in terms of population. But if you see the three basic sectors, we are having primary sectors, the manufacturing sector, service sector. Even China has surpassed. China is very actually ahead of us in terms of this manufacturing and manufacturing sector. But if you look at the basic differences, the ecosystem part we have discussed a lot, because what I think we have to work a lot on ecosystem part, how to develop the employability entrepreneurial ecosystem so that our students can develop that sort of creativity, credibility and confidence in them, so that they can think out of box, so that entrepreneurial attitude can be developed. That is very important if you are saying, say, employability. And another aspect I would like to highlight here, that we are having a large proportion of population behind poverty line. If we say, when you are thinking about employability of those sections of the population, those are not having good amount of resources to work with or to live a decent life. So what about their employability? So how we are thinking for them? How we are thinking for them? Question is, government has actually implemented many programs. We are flooded with programs, skill, Make in India, skill India. Now there are many other programs, n number of programs. Question is, and these programs normally and should benefit these underprivileged and these the have-not sections of the society. Question is, how are these programs, policies are truly implemented, and in true spirit have been are they being implemented in true spirit, so that these have not sections can be benefited. That is the things that policymakers should think. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Sushil Kumar Pattanayak, HUD Commerce and Management.
So namaskar.
Autonomous College. Yeah.
Namaskar to all of you. So because of time is short, we must complete it within 1 or 2 sentences. So what I heard from others, that always we focus on the economic aspect in the professionalism, but we never consider the non-economic factors or non-finance factors. Those are directly and indirectly that influence on the financial factors. So in that we have created a model that is ACCA. That is ACCA is designed for S for that syllabus which is meant for professionalism syllabus, and E for emerging skill, and S we have included social values, and C for cultural values. So 2 aspects we have added, that social values and cultural values, because in our college more than 7,000 students are there, and in commerce and management more than 2,500 students are there. So it is very difficult that in our part that every time NAC is asking what is your student progression and what is that ratio of the total employability. So what I measure that 25 to 30% maximum we touch in all this. But because of there is some deficiency or lacks on that, on creating the social values and cultural values among the students. But certain extent we have to fill up, and in that professionalism aspect, along with the syllabus, we have to add certain social values, because that every time we think of the financial aspect, that what much of package. So package is not important. Important is sustainability. Important is values. Important is outcomes. So these are the things which are important, but we never care for all this. So when it is unsuccessful at the end and the outcomes are not up to our expectation, then we think of what is the gap. So gap is in the non-financial sector, in the non-financial dimensions. So we have to technically careful for all that. So there is a constant in building the 5 factors. So it is less than equal to T square. That means time and technology. So we have to concentrate on these 2 things. Technology is not that as per our expectation what we think in the change dimensions, and also the time is also constant. So all the factors will function with the limitation of T square. So thank you all. If it will be added, then professionalism will be more value added and it will be more accepted in all this format. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. At last, now we invite Dr. Smruti Ranjan Das. He is the Associate Dean, KIIT deemed to be University.
Thank you, sir. So first of all, good evening to one and all, respected all the dignitaries here. So I do not waste too much time, just conclude 2 to 3 lines. So thank you very much, first of all, the organizers for giving me the beautiful opportunity. So the topic is the role of professional qualification in enhancing employability. Everybody telling about the employability. But I believe, as for our founders are said that education is the third eye of every children. So before you employability you start, you have to focus about the education. So as for our Sushil Pattanayak sir said that SESCA, but I believe on that if you enhance the employability, some of the key points are there. That is, skill development is the first major key aspects. Then the second thing is credibility and recognitions. Then competitive advantage, that is nowadays the need of the hour. Second is network opportunity, that is very important thing. If you don't have a network opportunity, you cannot build up your advancement of the employability. Increase the job security. Then the final part is the global recognition. If you don't have a global recognition, you cannot build your employability. Now you can know the key is a global recognitions. So we believe that we have many students are believing the professional qualifications, because when the students will start the career, their confusions, what they will do in that particular time, they are selecting of the specialization, you can say the qualification. In that particular time, they are very confusion. But nowadays, professional qualification, I believe, it is enhance the employability. So that's of my views. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Das. In fact, it has been a wonderful interactive session. Not interactive, but one-liner. It could be a monologue. But I think one question has been answered by other. And in the question only we had the answer. But now we are moving ahead towards a very important theme segment of the session. And I'll put on the mic to Mr. Prabhanshu. And I think we can open this house for the questions instead of going in a sequence. So if anybody has a very important pointer to be made, it could be made based on the experience and the expertise he has in that domain.
Thank you, Chandan. First of all, thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts, which were, I must say, have triggered the deliberation over here to what we are actually looking forward to in order to discuss further. I think, first of all, let me just summarize some of the key pointers to what the fellow panelists have made. The first is, of course, Dr. Satyabrat talked about being the lifelong learner. And especially particularly for the teachers, the educators, that of course there is a need to empower them, there is a need to upskill them and continuously to have them to continue to learn, right? He also talked about the alternate career options earlier, and I totally agree, because I'm feeling odd one out being a non-engineer over here in this room and so many engineers around. That there are typical career options like CA or engineering or probably medical sciences to what we have. But there are several other career options, and of course the educators and the parents also, they should be available to their students. I think there is one deliberation which has figured and has been emphasized upon quite significantly by almost everybody, which is that the education must be skill-based. I would say that it should not only be skill-based, but also should be application-based. So whatever I am learning, I should be able to apply that knowledge. I give you an example around on that. When I was pursuing my master's in the business administration, one of the faculty came to my campus, and the faculty was from one of the Ivies in the US. And when he came, he asked us a simple question: how many of you actually can calculate the standard deviation? Now, I was in a class where half of them were engineers, rest of them were chartered accountants, and few were like me, who were like the poets. I mean, we were that's how we were called. Everybody raised their hands because the standard deviation is an easy piece to calculate, right? And what he said, that there is no need to know how the standard deviation is being calculated, because MS Excel is going to do that for the rest of your life. What is more important is that how do you utilize that piece of information in making the business decision? And that's what I am talking about, that the people should be able to apply the knowledge rather than just gaining that. I mean, we talk a lot about say in the first trimester, I studied the Harvard need, Maslow's need of hierarchy, right? But how do we utilize that is more important rather than knowing the grade of the Maslow's need of hierarchy. Inclusion of industry representation to the board of studies sir talked about. I think a lot of institutions do follow around, and particularly, especially if we talk about in the down south, a lot of board of studies have been a part of myself. Interdisciplinary approach, and that is something which new education policy also talks about, the interdisciplinary approach. Practical application based learning. Ma'am talked about the gender, human rights and ethics, which is about the inclusion and ethics. Ethics is, of course, is the core of any business, but inclusion is equally important, because as a professional accountant or as the people who are actually working in any business, in any domain, we have to continue to work with the teams which are spread all around the globe. So not only as a professional, I need to be empathetic, but also I need to be inclusive when I'm actually making any business decision, or when I'm actually triggering any business decision to be made. In fact, ACCA has got a core, what do you say, that 3 I's is what we call in ACCA: inclusion, innovation, and integrity. So it is very much aligned to that. Skills have life cycles. Sir talked about the life, and that's so true, because the skills need to be evolved because the world is evolving. I mean, I think the kids know how to use a mobile phone today better than us. They know the applications better than us. So they are more tech friendly. They are more open to adopting the new technology. So skills, of course, are continuing to change. Industry academia gap, of course, talked about the expectation gap in the industry academia. I think that's something which is very important from both the sides. From the academia side as well, because they don't know what the industry is expecting. I think the industry also does not know what they should actually expect from the academia. So I think that marriage between the industry and academia is something which is very important. How do we do that is something which is important here. I mean, right? So we really don't have the shadi.com for that. Then lack of implementation skills, continuous professional development. Again, everybody talked about the lifelong learning. Monty sir, you talked about the shortage of the professionals in the particular field. I give you a piece of information. Per capita, professional accountant in the US is actually 10 times more than what India has. Which means that in India, we do have bare minimum. There is no particular data which is available, but bare minimum 2.5 million professional accountants short. What we produce is roughly 30,000-40,000 in a year, right? So that has an impact on the economy at large, but leaving that aside, there is a lot of scope for the students also to probably choose a particular field and continue to excel into that. And that triggers a point which is related to demand and supply. I think it's very important, and that's something which most of the panelists have agreed upon, is that the plain vanilla graduation is not helping out. India is the youngest country in the world with the largest population at the same time. So talent pool availability in India is huge. We are talking about almost half of the population being employable, which is fair enough, but we should also talk about the quality of the employment. But leaving that aside, because that will complicate the topic. But at the same time, half of them are actually not employable, which itself is actually almost as big as the population of the entire European Union, right? Attitude of the learner, I think somebody has talked about, which is very important. So I give you my own example. My entire education has been in the vernacular language. I've studied from Hindi medium Sarkari school in UP. And when I actually got into my master's, I couldn't utter a single word of the foreign language. So that attitude of the learner is something which is very important here, and that is particularly more important for when we talk about high aspirational generation Z, right? Networking opportunities, I think that's something which is extremely important. Networking has become very important, be it professional or be it social. Global recognition, the last speaker talked about, and I think the qualification, we all know Harvard Business School, right? Because they have been able to provide the exceptional talent to the world, and they did some unique innovations as far as that teaching is concerned. So the global recognition is something, of course, which is extremely important. With this, I'll probably put across a couple of questions. I will not come much into between you and the dinner. But what is more important is being a professional body like ACCA, which works with both industry and academia. How do you think, and as an educator, what do you need when we talk about bridging the gap between industry and academia? Maybe we can talk about in the rapid fire mode, and you can just simply raise your hand and we'll pass on the mic. I'll just come back to you, sir, in a minute.
What in return, today everything, India is supporting US means they are getting something from the US. Very honest. We are talking about, do you feel that sufficient industries are there, each industry will come and join every college? It's not possible. It is only theoretical. Be practical. So that means industry will come, provided that in return you will give them some. What you can give? Yes, sir. Just listen, sir. When I was the Dean Freak of USSUD Bulla, sponsored research and industrial consultancy. NALCO, what you call CEO came to me, then PGCL, everybody. What I used to do, I went to PGCL head, we squared, give me 3 crores. Why? Immediately he told, why? Sir, corporate social responsibility. We are a government institution. You are working in the jurisdiction of Odisha. Otherwise, I will write to the Chief Minister. Then he told, yes, corporate social responsibility. Last year, we were given a hostel to VSSUT. Every time, sir, you will ask us. Then we sat together. I told, no, sir, you have to give. I went to the, what you call, just after collector, RDC. RDC told, Professor, it's the right point. I will bring it to the government. You are working, huge money you are creating, and VSSUT, you cannot give this much. Then he told, he came to the collector and we had a large meeting. Then it was resolved. In return, what VSSUT will give to them? You are having experts? You create this kind of process. 1 semester or 1 month, 2 months, our corporate people you hire. Then I became the Dean of Continuing Education and Planning. What I did, I created 2 executive BTech programs. Probably in the history of Odisha, this is the first time. Then all the, what you call, working professionals of Intelco, nearby industry. It was decision by the collector. You have to, in the evening, you have to teach them. And finally, we have, after 4 years, then the modality we have decided. Then immediately completing that, huge number of industry in Western Odisha, they came. Because VSSUT has given something to the industry. My point is that unless otherwise you create some testing facility, something, otherwise why industry will come? There are thousands of institutions. Do you think that industry will go? Every it's not possible. It's only theoretical.
Of course, sir.
Only what they can, they told all the industry, they are telling, sir, in the board of study will come. Even they are unable to take the classes. Then the solution is that in the AICT meeting also I was there. Then the professor of practice came into the existence. You will pay us very clearly, very honestly they told. Why industry man will come? One day seminar they can take. They can give you some skill. But I want an industry-oriented course. One paper, because the industry told that. I asked them, who will teach that? Our professors are not competent enough to teach. But they are telling, we will come for campus interview, provided that you will keep this course. But how many industry will satisfy? It's all theoretical. Only thing what I believe, I told you, the pedagogy style, the teachers can create this skill. Skill is, as everybody told, it is a life cycle. Everybody, this what you call this kind of distribution. That means when increasing at certain point of time, again it will decrease. Skill, it is not permanent. What is the skill? As I told you earlier also in the past discussion, you have to train. Teachers can create that skill. Starting from the first year, somebody pointed out, I told you, why should an MBA graduate will be hired by the NALCO? NALCO is a manufacturing company. Engineers will do, technician will do. What is the role of the MBA graduate? The teachers from the very beginning, they should explain. These are the things. Technocrats, they can create a production. But the risk assessment they have not done. Then they cannot forecast what is the future. You give the example of Uber's supply-demand curve. That is the best example I always give. What is the thing? Uber initially it increased like anything. Suddenly it falls. What could be the reason? Proper planning was not there. Initially they did that. So MBA graduates, why they are hired, why they are highly paid also, just because in addition to their multidisciplinary skill, they are having the ability to analyze based on the data. We technocrats, we are not trained accordingly. We'll put the technology, do the things. Then risk assessment, that has to be done. Why I am telling this to then future prediction. You have to bring the what you call your business to that point. So in every respective field, only students they will listen very carefully to their teacher. I am very honest. You bring a Nobel laureate, student will be coming because principal, then the director, management will know, everybody will sit there. That is there. They will be sleeping. They will not listen, but they will believe their teacher. If the teachers will be the correcting, as I told you, teacher has to create the pedagogical methods. One example I am citing, how you can attract the last bencher to communicate. He is from village. He is not that smart. He has never, in the laboratory also, he will be the back bencher. Teacher never paid attention to them. One method, IIT Bombay is providing that kind of courses. I did that also. At this age also, I did this course. There are several, when the digital transformation has come, several pedagogical things has come. Education technology, there is a department at IIT Mumbai. Every semester and swimming courses are available. First thing, teachers should be trained how to attract the last bencher and allow them to communicate. When from the first semester itself, a mediocre or the backbencher, he is having confidence. Yes, teacher is listening to me. You will feel elevated.
Thank you, sir.
This kind of thing I want.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your opinion. I think what you talked about is the teachers' training as per the industry or by the industry for their requirements.
You have to create something for the industry.
Of course, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I'll give you two quick comments on the summary that you made. One interesting thing you said, your professor told you that you no need to understand how to calculate standard deviation. I disagree with this because see, a student must know how to calculate standard deviation manually. We have learned that today's generation are tech savvy. They can use Excel. When I teach accounting, I also use Excel and tell them this is how to calculate depreciation. Excel will give you everything. Excel will give you standard deviation also. But a student must know what is covariance, what is variance, how to calculate, what is that, why you have to take the relationship between variance and covariance. If machine is doing everything, then I am not required. That's what is happening. So what sir is saying, teachers are required, but with the required skill sets. That skill sets, as you said in your another point, skills evolve. Yes, I do agree that skills evolve. Skills evolve because of the market change in the market requirements and the change in the technology. Technology changes every minute, so we have to keep pace with that. But we are not able to do that. We are.
A student teacher will explain the student just one line. For a given data set, the standard deviation is 0.8, another is 0.9. Student must know which one is better for my perspective. Teach them enough. Any language, any formula, something, he will do that. So that is the skill development.
So what is required is student must embrace technology. Without technology, we cannot live. Let us accept that fact. We have accepted. Everyone has accepted. And technology will evolve, new things will come and come and come. Technology will be there. Technology has made our life simpler and easier. But at the same time, if I'm an accountant, I know how the numbers work. I know how they are connected. So as an accountant, my machine is doing everything. So what is my role? My role should be advisory. Okay? I'm like a doctor. Like a doctor sees the test reports, X-ray reports, and does the diagnosis. So as an accountant, I must see the reports, the results, and say that this is where, this is how the planning is to be done, or this is where we need to take corrective actions. We have to focus on certain numbers. Which item of expense, if I talk about accounting, which item of expense is putting pressure on the margin? So that requires the attention of the decision makers. So that is what, that's the requirement today. And because of, we are saying AI will come, IoT has come, and it will take away jobs. It will take away the, the preliminary, the introductory jobs or monotonous jobs. So more jobs are required, which requires the required skill sets. That skill set one must develop. Otherwise, I will no longer be required. Okay?
Could I put a small quick input if you don't mind?
I'll just be back. This is what exactly I was talking during my opening remark as well, that the accountants will become the value generators. They will be doing more insight generation rather than the data generation, right? And that insight, they will be the part of the decision-making table itself, so that the organization at large can make the financial decisions and make the profit out of it for the stakeholders, right? And that's where the technology, when the technology evolves, the skills which are required in order to capitalize that will also evolve. The existing ones which are there with us at this point in time may not work for us. Maybe 5 years or probably a decade down the line. I'll come back to you, sir, but before that, over to you.
See, I think this question, the issue we are discussing is industry academic collaborations and what we are. See, I think why should you collaborate? It is not something which is new. This is not a new subject. We have been talking about industry academia collaboration for various reasons. For course updation or redesigning syllabi, making it benchmark to the global standards, etc., etc. But what is necessary today is to manage change, to prepare our professionals to manage change, because we are living in a Bani world. You called about the VUCA world, it is now called Bani world. Brittle, anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible world. So in this world, who will tell the teachers what Bani world requires? Only industry can tell them. After 1 year, research report will come prepared by Harvard or some good academics. By the time it will be outdated. By the time it is published in Scopus or any standard journal, industry scenario has changed. Therefore, there is a need for constant interaction, daily basis, constant interaction between industry and academic institution. Without it, the professionals' skill set will be redundant, obsolete by the time they will go. Because the skill set they acquire, by the time they go to work, it is half relevant. So how to keep it? Unless and until there is a constant interaction. And how to do it? What he said, very theoretical, is really a theoretical in India, but not everywhere. So how to make it practical? We do not understand what others do in other developed countries. And many universities are actually practically driven. And industries is running universities and they are supported by universities. It is not run by some promoters. So long as in India is running universities and B schools and engineering colleges by some founders, some moneyed people, till that time perhaps there is a hegemony and there is some boundary line that your industry, you have your profit motive. I am academic, I am supposed to create product. I will invite you only during placement and then you take the things. Moment you do that, there is a gap of 2 years or 3 years in engineering and there is no match. That's how the 49% people are not employable. Because by the time they go there, they do not have the employable skills required by the company. So that's my point, is that having continuous, but how to do it, mechanisms to be developed. We have been talking about it, but mostly theoretical.
Yeah. Thank you.
I need 1 minute. Let him.
Bani.
You may continue. Yeah, you raised your hand. Please.
It's okay. Anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So the question was not how to bridge the gap between academia and industry, or what role you can play as the organization to bridge the gap.
My question was, what do you need if you have to bridge the gap between industry and academia?
Exactly. All right. So then let me actually, I have a slightly different view on this. Because academia, we have the very, very natural habit of blaming ourselves. We always say that industry is doing enough, we are not doing. Because we are only inviting them for the placement. I was slightly, and I have been talking about, and we have been debating for a long time also. Because industry is equally to be blamed, according to me, it's more. It's actually the whatever is happening. If you look at it, in India specifically, many the academic institutions started involving industry in various the parts of their activities, starting from board of studies, the academic advisory bodies, till taking the classes, giving, even here in IMI, I was there in also in the MDI, we have even 20% of the course outsourced to the industry. We have the industry collaborative courses. We have so many, and it's not that what I am saying that I worked in 2 organizations that did it, multiple organizations that at least they've involved industry people in the board of studies and all these things. But equal kind of the partnership or the initiative, we don't see that from the industry side. Industry every time only blames academia, saying that you are not doing enough. Let me give you one example. Fine. So I had many courses with American Express, fine, which was on analytics, fine. We had actual courses with the AI and industry at the end of the day comes back and gives in the feedback during the recruitment saying people are not, students are not industry ready. What do you mean by not industry ready? Don't expect a management school. I can speak about management because I don't have experience in engineering. Don't expect a management school actually across the table prepare a student which is ready for your company only. If you want that, you have to open your hands much more than this. I cannot prepare it. Let's take it is actually Amex. Let's take it is Z. Let's take it is Infosys. I cannot train my people only for the Infosys. That might have customized and tailor-made. You have to do it. And if you want that to happen, please collaborate. How many of the companies are open to allow the academia, the faculty members to go and get trained? We have been trying to even write the case studies. They don't give us the right. They don't give us actually no objection, this one certificate. Academia is asking them, please allow our faculty members to go. At least we have tried the schemes. We said, let's actually every year, here also I am trying now, that every year 2 industry people, I am ready to open my platform then. 2 months you come and work in the institute. Fine. So it's no financial commitment, but I'll give you the office space, interact, use our facilities, infrastructure, interact the faculty, and because you also need it, and also open. They're open for that. And when I am asking, open your platform also, I will send 2 of my faculty members to go and do the internship there. Spend 2 months your company, try to understand what is happening. Then only you can bring to the classroom, na? What is happening there. You don't open your doors. You expect always the academia to actually prepare the students for your company. That cannot happen. Because one institution cannot run for one particular company. Look at it, why it is happening in Western world. Even Indian companies are going, funding the Western business schools, not Indian business schools. They have that kind of the mindset. We need to change it. If that is what you want it to be, look at all the, of course, to some extent, Indian academia, I'm saying it is not responsible. More responsibility there with the now for the industry to come forward and take initiatives to actually bridge this gap than the academia. Academia is doing it to a large extent now. They were not doing 10 years before. Now it is very much they are aware about it. They are doing. Changing the curriculum, making it industry relevant. Everything is happening, but the industry has to be actually open in this context. Fine. There are a lot of actually, we can have some different problems. I can tell you about 30 minutes on these. Because we have done a lot of research, we have actually tried to bring industry through different ways. It has never happened. They are more to be blamed than the academia.
So I think what you're talking about is the adaptability and acceptability of the industry towards the academia, right? And their openness to accept the academia to be the part of their system, or probably explore the systems to what they are, so that the academia has the better understanding about that, how the particular industry works.
You feel you are one of the important stakeholders in this. If you are taking the student, don't think that is okay.
Is there any kind of agenda with any corporate organizations? They have to have in a governance system in their strategy that they have a role to play. Do they coin anything in their 5 years plan that they are going to See, irrespective of any university or anything, do they have an agenda? If they do not have agenda, they do not have any budget, they do not have concern. They call it a disturbance. Yeah. Yeah.
Not actually.
Not
I'm
not
could I just give us just give. I agree with Itishri ma'am. Marriages are not working these days. Okay, I'll take it from there. So corporate enterprises, academia is a marriage, typical, very masaladar Indian marriage. I don't know who's the husband or who's the wife. So let's take equal partners. Now, there are few points I agree, there are few points I disagree. It is just that we just don't like each other. That's the reason why academia says industry is not doing it. Industry says academia is not, manufacturing the way things we want. But I'll not take a name of the college, okay? But I would put it like this: academic organizations. So I've been, as an academician, I'm also in the management board. Academic organizations or academic boards needs to understand and stop thinking that the corporate is responsible. Now, we did this as a small part last year. I will take the name of the company. We got 4 professionals from Duff & Phelps, okay, for fintech. So we had a super specialist in Power BI. We had a specialist who was into business valuation, IPO analysis. Finance is not my line, so please don't cross-question me on that. I'm very bad at finance. I just know the tags. So they came in. They got about 40-45 of our students who had taken finance as a specialization. We did 134 hours of training from these people. Saturday, Sunday, morning, starts from morning 8, ends at night 10. These are professionals who come. We pay them for it. Now, sir, it is like this that we expect, this is my point of view, this is what I've seen. We expect that we are faculties, we should be paid. But when we want our students to be trained by the corporate, we think that they should be doing it as it is their responsibility. No, we are supposed to pay them. Sir, you pay anybody to train you. It might be a super professional in Upgrad or Udemy or Byju's or anywhere. You got top guys, you pay them. They will train you. And you are, I'm telling you, every single student is, if not at par, ahead of the current corporate. Their minds are very, very bright. They are learning, they are seeing. You just need to get that professional from the corporate, pay that person, or maybe have a tie-up and say that we will pay your people. So let's say I'm Microsoft, and he's Shushti College. He says he will pay Microsoft to train their students on absolute top edge AI, co-piloting and cloud. The moment he passes out, I as Microsoft will be crying for his money for taking that child, because he is specialist in that tech. I have trained him myself. And believe me, sir, all my fintech students, all 45 of them are absolutely super placed. Deloitte, KPMG, Duff & Phelps, all of them. 3-4 मेरे ज़रा कुछ गधे थे, उनको नहीं मिला, है ना? वो पढ़ने के बाद उनका कुछ नहीं हुआ. Having said that, reversing it out, sir, is that you mentioned US. I'm a Boston pass out, okay, my MS. In the US, it is not that management funds. India is a different country. We are a different society. We are a different democracy. We have different culture, right? India, China, same, kariban, as far as culture is concerned. US, the university survives on research, right? It's not about us. It's not about a faculty getting the opportunity in the corporate to do a case study. I remember my professor, Gopal Naik from XIM, he was my project head. Companies used to beg him for research, used to beg him for getting reports, getting strategies. I remember L. Ravindram, great economist. She was in economics. She was again my professor. So many projects in World Bank. And we as students used to run behind her. Kis, madam, humko le jaiye. We will assist you in your research. Now, those days is my personal view, that those days when academicians were leading on the top, they were telling the corporates, what do you do next? They were the analysts. They were the people who were researching. Now, in US, as you say so rightfully, I did my PhD. I started from Boston University on my PhD itself on Face ID. Okay, I think about 1100 of us got a doctorate because of that Face ID, this thing. Now, sir, they created this research, they created technology, then, the companies adapted. So many people adapted, Apple adapted, Samsung adapted, Facebook adapted. There's so many people where this patent has been sold. Or let's say distributed cloud computing, when let's say you go to Indigo, you go to the airline industry, which is that distributed pricing pattern based on demand and supply, prices is changing in seconds, right? That was done by a professor. They led the industry. So a professor who is leading the industry doesn't have to request for any case analysis from the industry. So it is just that, sir, we somehow are not being able to manage the marriage in some places, but in some places it's happening good. And students are not behind with corporates. They are really smart. We just need to get them to the campus. Or let's say take the campus to the corporate, whichever way it works. मसालेदार शादी है सर, हो जाएगा कभी, आज नहीं तो कल.
I will just put 3 minutes max 3 minutes, 2 minutes. I will try to see, as I told you, what is the collaboration between corporate and academia. First is academics. Now sir was talking about academics, where to collaborate. They have to open the door. For example, a faculty wants to do sabbatical, might be 1 year with the corporate. I'm a FMCG person, so I would love to go to Hindustan Lever and do 1 year service and come back and teach my students. I'm a digital marketer. I will do that. I'm just taking one small example. So that is academia collaborations. Research. I mean, what research is going on? It's only like scopers and all those things we are doing. Is it helping society or community to solve a problem? Are we doing research which is funded by a corporate, which will be of some help for the community and society? Any problem we are solving? Third, now why corporate says students are not ready? Because somehow or other we have not segmented the students, neither we have segmented the academic delivery, neither we have segmented the corporates. See, you are asking a fish to sit in an interview where elephant should go through. How come it will be possible? A student who is having to services sector, you are putting him in product sector. So obviously he is going to be rejected where the attitude is missing. And then you are training, like fearsome, giving fearsome training. That's another issue. Training and consulting. For example, I think I will request government, because there is a recording which is going on. So I will request government. I mean, it's just a submission and request to the government. If there are companies which are surrounding the B schools and, the colleges here in Odisha, rather than going and bringing somebody from Lucknow or Indore or from Ahmedabad, I think they should develop resources here, both faculty, students, and they should take the help of those people in bringing their people up and also vice versa. Right? So these are some of the issues. If you don't develop these schools around, it's very difficult. So these are some of the issues. And from the day one, people need clarity in the system. Everybody is running. But suddenly you realize, we missed the bus. So, students need to be categorized. Corporates need to be categorized. As Sir said, for example, a student is planning for a Deloitte. Then the training should be given to those students who are interested in Deloitte. So you have to have segmentation and then you position your brand. But, we are going in a general way. So, and what Sir said, Professor Vishal said, we are producing general management experts. They are experts in all the areas. So if a company wants really, able manpower, they can set up the center of excellence inside the campus. So what will happen on regular basis, there will be interaction between all the stakeholders. Sometimes they can brief the parent to manage the expectation of the students. So it's a very complex system. So unless, you have both the sides coming forward and helping each other, it's a very difficult journey. Yeah.
In fact,
may I
add something?
1 minute.
Yes,
Just a minute.
Just in a rapid fire mode.
Yeah,
please.
sure. I just completely agree with my predecessor on regarding the segmentation of the training and targeting and mapping the clients to visit the campus. And as per the mapping of the clients, you have to recognize the aspirations of the students as well as their aptitude and attitude, what he was telling. It's completely correct. But we can't we can't prepare a student for a particular organization. We can in fact prepare a student for a particular industry and for a super specialized segment of that industry. And regarding, I extend to some extent with Dr. Pal also, regarding that breach between academia and industry and the supply and the industry not reciprocating to the academic institutions' aspirations. So, suggestion is that the purpose of this kind of congregation of academic leader is that why not to have a collaborative effort of all the institutes, let's say Bhubaneswar or in and around Bhubaneswar of the state of Odisha. They need to have a collaborative effort and collaborative approach so that they can have a collective bargaining, so that they can have a better bargaining from the industry. Yes, that will reap the benefit very in a very efficient way, and mostly the industries will listen to us actually. Rather than one single institute, let's have a collaborative effort and have a collective bargaining. We don't need to travel to Indore or Noida or Pune. Let's explore the institute. Let's explore the industries in and around Bhubaneswar, Odisha, as well as Calcutta or Jamshedpur or Ranchi. That'll be better, I think.
Exactly. I think, in fact, as a professional body, what does ACCA do? Number one, that we create the platforms for the academic institutions and for the industry to sit together.
Correct.
And identify that how they can actually collaborate.
Yes.
And there are a lot of examples, as I said, that we are working with 145 institutions, universities particularly in India itself alone, and 1800 worldwide. The second thing is there is a lot of public value agenda, because I think somebody has talked about the CSR as well. Now, in terms of the public value agenda, what do? Is that we work with some of the state universities, and I can give you the examples like Chandan University in Jeypore, or probably the RMT in Nagpur, or Devi in Indore, University of Madras, Pondicherry University, Osmania in Hyderabad, so on. There are several such examples of the state universities where we do some workshops for them, for their faculties of the affiliated colleges also. Because it is not only about engaging with the state universities at the top level, but it is also about engaging with the faculties at the affiliated colleges, because that's where the maximum impact for the society is to be done, right? And in terms of the exposure, they have got a least exposure, right? So, for example, we recently did Indian Accounting Standard in the IFRS workshop for them. It's a one full day workshop, which is being supported by ACCA for them. And we don't talk about ACCA, rather we just talk about that, what is IFRS, what is Indian Accounting Standard. Believe me, because a lot of faculties don't know what is IFRS in the first place. We also work with the Institute of Eminence also, likes of IIMs, and I'm talking about some of the top-notch IIMs in the country, like for example, in last month itself, in 20th July itself, we did the Strategic Business Leadership workshop for IIM Mumbai. Now the next one is actually planned for the IIM Bangalore. Now these are the top-notch institutions where we talk about that how to build the leadership skills for the faculty so that they can inculcate the same into their students, right? So those kind of the things which as a professional body we are anyways doing, and we are more than happy to support to the institutions within this region as well, because that's a part of my public valuation. Now moving on, again, because of the paucity of the time, I'll probably come to a very quick rapid fire mode. And it seems to be an interesting question. I particularly enjoy this question a lot, which is that how does the technology, especially, we are talking about a lot of AI tools and etc., right, has impacted the way you teach to the students? Because the students have started using them. Very much. So, yeah. Sorry? No. Okay. So, how many people? So that's the counter question has come to us. No, but impacted the way you teach. The way the faculties teach. May not be they are teaching that how to use the ChatGPT or probably some AI tools, but in terms of my teaching process, has that created some impact?
Very much, I would say. Yeah. Otherwise, we can't engage the students in the classroom anymore. If I don't know what is ChatGPT and how to prepare a PPT using that, they will not listen to me. What are you doing, sir? It's the whole old PPT models. It's very much important for us to change. However old we are, but we need to change.
Yeah, and most of the faculty, for your information, even they're designing their quiz questions, from ChatGPT. The course manual and course outline is designed through ChatGPT. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's true.
That's
It makes a lot of work easier in the sense that you get, earlier we used to give handouts, right? Study material, right? Now the study material from a 4-pager, 5-pager has become a 30-pager ebook with more data put into it. Is faster, easier, though it does help. It does help. वो बात अलग है कि वो उनको हम 30 पेज देते हैं, उनके पास 300 पेज रखा हुआ है. But it works. At least they don't say that कि सर को कुछ पता नहीं है.
And
like how far you have penetrated into the student community, right? So all these things actually could be a kind of data, sufficiency, there.
So the faculties also started getting the Gen Z language now. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, no, first of all, I want to put a rider that I'm not technology averse.
Likewise, ma'am.
But, I must say that, I would really have liked to have contributed to the previous question as well. But I'd like to say that at the end of the day, it's not just about using ChatGPT or anything. It is about also, I think it's about how we are trying to, the pedagogy itself, but it's also how we're trying to assess people. If you kind of give the kind of straightforward questions, which people will just get it out of ChatGPT and give. But how do you make, and I think people, even faculty, are not spending enough time. I just had, before I came here, I had a long session on doing questions for a question bank with my faculty. And I realized that they don't even know, sometimes they can't formulate a question properly to make it analytical so that the student can actually think. And I think that's where the problem lies. So you may have any kind of tools, but you should not make the student reliant on that completely, nor the faculty. And that's what is unfortunately happening, which is why he says that today if you don't do a PPT using ChatGPT, then your student says, what is, But I think we have slowly started saying that, guys, this is the way to go. And I think that's where we should call it a halt and say, sorry, no, this is not the way to go. And I tell you, today, I don't know how many of you have heard the name of Paulo Freire, but I actually take a class sometimes in the with students saying that you should know about Paulo Freire. If people don't know this kind of things, and because nobody reads anymore nowadays. And I think that's a real sad part of the whole education system. And today, the rankings of the day, sorry to say this, but they are actually diminishing the entire education system. The way they're going about it, you have to, why do I have to have 90% pass in order to get a rank in NIRF? When I know that employability is not happening. Because the education is so sad. But this is what is, so somewhere the left hand is not talking to the right hand. And I think that's where the same thing is with the industry and academia. I tell you, I did I floated a program where I got 10 industry people to actually design the curriculum. And they said, anybody who does this course will get a job. I don't know what the problem is. Am I failing in my marketing of the course? Because actually everybody who has done that course has got a job by the same industry. And this is a course, a BTech in Phytopharma. It was done by all the industry people. They designed the program. So I think there are so many ways you can collaborate with industry, and they're very, very successful models. I have 50 industry labs on my university campus, across all my campuses. They've invested everything. Of course, I'm sorry to say we have a huge electricity bill. That's besides the point. But it is, you really have to have that kind of thing. And the other day, even the industry comes to us sometimes and they say, we have employed all these people. Can you train them for us? And they're all diplomas, ITIs and all that. But the system which they've come through, they don't have the skills. They don't have the competencies. So somewhere we are failing those kids. And I think we really need to relook this. I think we are trying very hard the way we can. We are trying very hard. And we are trying to see that people are actually trained. And I keep saying it doesn't matter. Ranking, no ranking. we have to do this. How do we deliver quality education? And I think that is key. Thank you.
I'm just supplementing, sir. Yeah.
No student, yes. No student is going to any fundamental book. So that is the
no teacher
most, yes.
Yes.
Sorry, sorry to say that.
I really can't say that because I'm among the teachers right now.
No, sir, I think I have got couple of points taking, both of their, viewpoint quickly, 30, 40 seconds. Yeah. Acha, madam is continuing. Acha, you are continuing, madam?
Yes, there is such a gender divide.
Oh, you are continuing? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. No, I thought she is finished.
Yes, that's the worst thing happening among students and also with many young teachers. I think teachers of my generation, they are quite used to books which are fundamental books. And if you ask questions through that the books, and the students will just fall flat. So that is how they were only computer savvy, and I'm not a computer savvy and I'm not a techno savvy. That's why I don't have much interest in that. But that is the saddest part among the students today, is not going through good books which are foundations of our education. And number 2 is empathy, as we were talking about empathy. The art of giving. Even giving a thank you is now conjusi. You just pay the auto driver 10 rupees and with a thank you, the auto driver will smile. That is missing nowadays. Just everything is mechanic and you just throw money and go. That is how we are, and celebrating birthdays and anniversaries. Just celebrate those happy events in slums, in marginalized sections. You will feel the difference. That is how I feel. This is all we are lacking today. Celebrating birthdays at home with those people who are not, doctors are not allowing us to eat food. But we are invited by rich people for all parties and all these ceremonies. That is how I just want our children to learn the art of giving. Just give your old books to the poor people who are in slums. Give your old clothes. And that is about the art of living and art of giving, and that will put some values and ethics in the life of our children, the coming generations. That is what I mean to say as a social scientist.
I think the generation has become more of a generation of Instagram and this
Snapchat. Yes.
No,
that
sir,
is
parenting,
the whole tragedy.
sir, parenting is the issue. Now we are
spending,
we are investing 3 hours here. How many of us are spending 3 hours with our kids? Father is working, mother is working, professional commitments, we are okay. But how much, so that is one issue, sir. Why, like students are not reading? Because parents, they have never seen parents reading the books in front of them and motivate. I'll tell you. Because, now I have also gone to the Kindle, madam.
We have to understand, I think all of their kids have gone out of the house. I think we are few here within the government.
Okay, sir, that is one major point, sir. I will request, because administrators are there who are running their institutions, please ensure that faculty members are sent to corporates. Some kind of arrangement has to be there. I don't know what is the modus operandi, but if a faculty is teaching marketing, he should go and work at least sometime for a marketing company, finance, same in all functional areas. What is the modus operandi? Please decide. I don't know. Second is, sir, pedagogy. I can tell about me as a faculty. Now going to the class, teaching a digital marketing course, along with Google Analytics and all those things. You have to have multiple pedagogy. Everybody is a teacher, and you have to graduate. So it's a script. 1 hour, 1.5 hour script. You have to have case, you have to have role play, you have to have digital technology into place, you have to have flipbook, you have to have all online platforms, what is available in cloud and all those things. If your institution is having all those platforms, you have to have. And then, you have to have your app. I build the app in the class. Might not be a professional app at the level of Amazon, but I can build the app within 30 seconds in the class. 30 minutes in the class. Obviously, to activate it, it takes 24 hours. So, sir, you have to have multiple pedagogy. But when we say this is not happening, we are also responsible for it. I have seen father is working, mother is working, kids doesn't have time, and suddenly you say, you don't do this, but father is, on the, this. No, I'm doing my office mails and follow-ups and all those things. So I'm doing on a purpose. What you are doing, you are checking Instagram. Obviously, that's for Gen Z, so obviously they will do. That's not for us. Because she is busy for 6 hours on all these platforms.
I'll just move back, circle back to the topic, original topic. I think otherwise it will become a little bit different. But I think one point which ma'am has talked about is being analytical. There is a management saying called the great leaders ask the great questions. I think that's something which the faculties, of course, continue to evolve. Last question from my side before we give a wrap to this, and I'll hand it over to Chandan for that. And please, one single liner for that is, how do you think the professional bodies, and I'm particularly talking about the Indian professional bodies or likes of ACCA, can help further in bridging the gap between the industry and academia, because professional bodies do have the exposure for both of them, and help the students to with a career in the field of the particular choice which they are operating into. So how do you think that we can help as a professional?
So you have been running this similar workshop. This is the third time you are doing it here. So different places.
Lot of.
So what is the action plan? After you complete this kind of workshop, what do you do after that?
So, sir, as I said that we gather the feedback and likes of yourself. We do a lot of research on our own and around the globe. So I talked about the digital accountant in the future, probably just in a couple of slides, but it's a comprehensive piece of the research which is available. And then we, of course, publish, we share with the relevant stakeholders with our recommendations and etc. The second piece which you talked about in terms of the workshops to what we do, likes of the IFRS, Indian Accounting Standards, or the Strategic Business Leader, or the Technology in the Finance and etc., is something we do it for the faculties as a takeaway for the kind of a trainers, I mean, if we talk about.
Your question like this, what is the role of professional bodies in enhancing the employment opportunity? Your question is like that. But my experience says that we have two important, particularly in commerce and management, we have two professional bodies. One is Indian Commerce Association and another one is AIMS, All India Management Association.
We work with them.
But so far my knowledge is concerned, they are conducting regularly the conference. In conference, different topics are debated and proceedings are out. But they are not in a position to enhance the employment opportunities. So, as you said that, can they help or in enhancing the employment of professional qualified persons?
So Indian Commerce Association,
they only conduct the conferences and get together. Just we have discussed that marriage, industry, academia, marriage, like that. So they are not thinking it very seriously. Only they are conducting regularly the conference, seminars, like that.
Okay. When I
But
talk about the
here
bodies,
we should send a message to them that you come out the strategy how to enhance the professionally qualified persons for enhancing the the employment opportunities.
So when I refer to, for everybody's understanding, when I refer to the professional bodies, I mean by the likes of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ACCA, or the company secretaries, or the cost accountants, so on and so forth. When you talk about the Indian Commerce Association or Indian Accounting Associations, I think those are the associations, those are not the professional bodies, right? And yeah, those are the membership organization. We anyways work with them and we share a lot of thoughts with them.
That is the interesting part.
I want to suggest one line. So the next, you see, I think for this kind of topic, if you conduct any kind of roundtable like this next time, I would strongly suggest that you invite people from industry. Many of us are from academia. Okay, see what has happened in our country. The conferences are held, roundtables are held, hours of academic inputs are taken, hardly passed on. You said that you pass on, but what is the output of it? You have hardly implemented. I have my experience of so many things we do, deliberate. We are very good talkers. We are very good idea generators, but hardly implement. So I think, therefore, I think in next time, please invite 50%, if not, more or less. I think then only, if suppose we and myself and suppose Professor Biswal, we are a bit little critical and which Professor Paul countered, it is not blaming, telling truth. If I am telling lie, there is a person from industry who will say, hey, Professor Naik, no, this is not true. Let that person to be here. Then only, see, there has to be some idea. And again, who should come? A manager will come and he will not have any power to influence the governance decision in the company. Somebody should come. At least if one company start doing it, like Rockefeller. Rockefeller started Rockefeller Foundation, isn't it? He was Prime Minister. Government. No. They will not come. Knowingly, they will not come. They will give their name. They will.
So I think what sir has talked about is that how do we create a platform where the industry and the academia do sit together, deliberate, and reach out to some consensus and action them, which is more important here.
And professional bodies should follow up.
And just to let you know, sir, we do that a lot. We are more than happy to do that in Bhubaneswar as well. We anyways do that, sir. We anyways do that. But first of all, I need to understand your requirements, and that's why we are having this deliberation.
So, okay, I will just. Can I just give a point of view, because I actually teach. So I teach ethics, and I've realized one thing, that ethics cannot be taught standalone. So I think that every professional body has the code of ethics. So I think what can be very effectively done, and this is a very practical point, is that how can this code of ethics be translated to the institutions? Because I am now telling my faculty that there's no point in me teaching it. You should be talking about it from your disciplinary perspective. So that is why if the industry bodies can support institutions, because even there the institutions, also the faculty don't know. While they may be members of IEEE or something like that, when I tell them that please speak about your code of ethics with your students, they really draw blank. So I think that might be a very clearly a point where they can engage. No, I No, I don't. I will not agree with that. I don't agree with that, because I think, yeah, it should be part of every course, and it should be related to the discipline. I really think, because it's not just ethics per se, but what we are talking is about the ethics which is relevant to the discipline.
I think it's about doing the right thing, which is very important here. The definitions of course, several facts within that may continue to change. First of all, I really, it's my heartfelt thank you to everyone for your time and for your super active participation into this deliberation. I think out of these, some of the questions which we have deliberated upon, Sir has talked about the trainer for the faculties to identify the industry requirements and to support that how do they keep up themselves at par with what the industry needs. To manage the change, of course, is everybody talked about. Industry should be more adaptable to academia in the sense that they should be also more acceptable to having the academia into their own systems, so that the proper relationship between both of them can be developed. Because yes, exactly, need not to be transactional, but rather there has to be an emotional engagement connect, right? Research oriented, I think India has a lot of research, particular focused institutions. I know a couple of them myself, like NII or probably NBRC. IISc is there, right? But yes, there has to be academic level institutional research also needs to be done. Just to put across, I mean, Harvard, for example, has got a $4.5 billion budget, right? Which is almost equal to the Indian higher education budget. Exactly. So let's try to minimize it. We cannot bridge it, but let's try to minimize segmentation and consultation for the students and of the students is required. And creating a platform between academy and industry, I think sir has talked about, which everybody, and I'm more than happy to support into that endeavor as well. What I need for that is an active participation when the industry also comes in, right? So with this, I pass it on to Chandan. Over to you, please.
Well, without wasting much time, like it has been a wonderful deliberation. I think it was more of a dialogue session, and a lot of input has come. Many of were super participative, as sir told, but definitely that intro round gave us a feedback as in what are the challenges actually lying in everybody domain. No one is expertise to comment or to give an exact solution to it, but definitely these kind of deliberation at least opens our mind when we see some of the very valid inputs coming from the academia. So this RT is actually, as I said, that these are very customized event where a corporate approaches us to get hold of few of the academia player to come and deliberate on such topic, the way which we did last time. But we have a flagship event by the name of Education Leadership Summit. So as I was saying in my speech, there we invite from KG to PG. The panel discussion is in comparison with the principal of the school to the vice chancellor of a university. We have a corporate body also sitting in that panel, and a government is also coming, as in the secretary level or a director level or a ministry level, and we have a very meaningful deliberation on that event. So that kind of event, we keep on doing it, but that is a mix of the event. There is a specific event only dedicated on school education. So the thing is that as I said, we have a limitation of drafting something and giving it to the body. They have bundles of files and white papers like that. We can just make a reminders of what is happening, but they have certain souvenir coming in where they can put a picture or a post. This is a developed department which has done certain initiative into this. But as I said that one event or one symposium will never give an answer like that. जैसे वो आंख बंद करके बैठे हैं, हमारा काम है इवेंट करते रहने का, और वो मैं बार बार वो पब्लिश करते रहूँगा सर. जैसे न्यूज़पेपर है, हर दिन 40 पेज का न्यूज़पेपर हमारे घर पे आता है. थिंक अबाउट द पीपल वर्किंग बिहाइंड दैट. जब हमारा दिन खत्म होता है, उनका दिन शुरू होता है. दे वर्क फ्रॉम इवनिंग लाइक 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock एंड 6 बजे तक इंश्योर कराते कि आपके घर पे पेपर आ जाए. जैसे मैम ने बोला कि भाई रीडिंग हैबिट खत्म हो गई है, तो ये बुक से नहीं है, हमारे घर से ही रीडिंग हैबिट खत्म हो गई है. द वे नहीं, पर उसमें भी कैसा हो गया सर, उसमें भी चॉइस हो गया है. आपने 3 ऑप्शंस कर लिए, मुझे अकाउंट्स, फिनेंस, स्पोर्ट्स और पॉलिटिक्स. मुझे केवल इतना ही न्यूज़ दिखाओ, मुझे बाकी की न्यूज़ मत दिखाओ. पर न्यूज़पेपर कैसा बोलता है, न्यूज़पेपर के पास हर पन्ने में हर का सॉल्यूशन है. वही सर, बट विद दिस लाइक आई थिंक वेरी सर. हाँ. But I think we have concluded this session pretty well. I was not aware कि मतलब हम लोग 30 speakers बैठ के 3 घंटे में वो justification कर सकते हैं. Obviously 3 hours is not a justice to this, is not enough. As I was saying sir, the limitation was only to 20 speakers, but 10 speakers को हम मना नहीं कर सके because they were representing such fine institution and with a such so we thought कि invite everybody. Let us see कि क्या हम compromise time में कर सकते हैं, but everybody should at least give that gives an entire perspective of the entire Odisha region. हर institute अपने आप में एक बात मैं कहना चाहूँगा मैम. When I was landing to this airport and मैं बाहर जब आ रहा था, तो सब कॉर्पोरेट के ब्रांडिंग्स तो दिखते हैं, पर आपका ब्रांडिंग मुझे दिखा यूनिवर्सिटी का, और मैं वहाँ पर देख रहा था प्लेसमेंट, गारंटी, वारंटी. मुझे ऐसा वर्ड कुछ भी नहीं दिखा. 3 वर्ड विच कैच्ड मी एंड विच आई वॉज देयर फॉर 2 minutes टू जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाट इज दैट सेंचुरियन यूनिवर्सिटी में क्या मैसेज देना चाह रहे हैं. तो जैसे आपने LEC को वहाँ पर मतलब ज़्यादा हाईलाइट किया है, लर्न, एक्सपीरियंस एंड C stands for आपका चेंज. तो मुझे वो काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग लगा to see any institution branding and they are not talking about placement, they are not guaranteeing anything, but you are highlighting three points. तो मुझे लगा कि I think मेरा सेशन का जो टॉपिक है वो थोड़ा बेटर वे में जाएगा, as in expectations is not there, but your empathy or your attitude of giving back and telling students also कि now you मैंने learning तो दे दी, अब your responsibility is to change yourself, change the society. So the question keeps on going on. So thank you so much. There is a small can we have a huge round of applause for all of us, like for yourself. Thank you so much for being so patient.